All right, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes, you guys can? Yes. Perfect. Oh, well, hey, everyone. Welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. We don't remember what episode it is because we've done so many, but thank you for joining us on this Monday. Happy Monday. We know it's earlier than our initial programming, but we do this so we can make room for the guests that we have on. So let's run you through what we have going on for this show. Well, we'll touch on something with the football schedule. The opening game has been announced, Ravens and Chiefs. That is the opening game night. We'll just talk about it a little bit. And then actually, guys, we have our first opposing player coming to studio. Yeah. Blue Jays pitcher Tim Mayza is going to join us in studio for this edition of Know Your Foe as the Blue Jays get ready to take on the Orioles. And then right after that, guys, stop traffic. James McCann is going to join the show as well to talk about baseball and just whatever else is on our mind. And we have some things that we're curious to talk about with James McCann. And then at the end of it, Jim Riley of Ballcap Sports is going to join us. He's a YouTube content creator that covers all baseball, but also specifically has a very good pulse on the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's what we have for the show for you guys. And let's talk about who is going to, let's talk about who is in studio with us right now, starting on the right, Zach. Right, there it is.
Look at that. We got it going. Oh, God.
And Kevin.
It is me. It's been a day.
Yeah, so Kevin's already been up more than he's ever.
Yeah, woke up at 8:57. So people set their alarms for like 9 on the dot, 8:55 on the dot. I go like 8:58 if I'm waking up at 8:55 or like.
What did you have to do at 9 o'clock?
I went on the radio at 9 o'clock. I woke up at 8:57.
So if you hear him on 105.7,
it was actually Buffalo radio.
Oh,
Buffalo.
So then I immediately did the Locked On Ravens live stream at 9:45, earliest by like hours I've ever done Locked On Ravens. So not only do the Ravens not like my schedule and everything, I put out an episode. I was thinking about it all weekend of I'm going to do this. The Ravens should want the Chiefs in week 1, and here's why. And the whole weekend, they gave me like an hour and a half of having that show be relevant before putting this news.
You know, it's funny. I actually told the NFL to do that. I said, what?
I knew it was you. I thought it was Rocco, but now that you're admitting it.
And Rocco's in studio as well. Rock.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I'm all alone. All by myself.
Is that's not the karaoke, but that is pretty electric.
But that's just like, it's just
that's early on a Monday.
Well, and also, guys, we'll explain real quickly. Hey, Jamie, welcome, Jamie, to welcome to the membership here. And so, for those that are making sure we get the claps, welcome to the membership. And for those that know, we actually put this out about who we are having on for guests, and actually, we'll put out what we have on one-on-one interviews that are lined up tomorrow. So for the Holy Shirts and Pants members, you can join. And again, all of the help of joining the subscriptions goes to us trying to give you guys more content and really update all this equipment as we continue to evolve here. And we're still working on some things, but we're really excited about the direction that it is going right now. So are you guys okay, kids?
Rocker just did this so dirty.
Kevin's got the nastiest case of bedhead that you'll ever see.
For those that don't know, I have chronic bedhead.
It's bad, man.
I will I'll wet my hair down when I shower, do the whole comb it, and then
it's brutal.
It sticks back up. So it's business in the front, party in the back. Always.
That's literally what I just tweeted, Kevin.
Really?
Yeah.
You tweeted it?
Oh, absolutely.
Tweeted it?
Absolutely. I tweeted it.
Okay. He'll send
I thought it was going in the Discord.
Oh, no, this is getting tweeted out.
Hey, can one of you guys go get Tim? He's actually downstairs.
Kevin, why don't you fix your hair before you go down there? Look presentable for once in your life.
No. Tim's going to walk away.
I won't let him walk behind me.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That thing from the side, Kevin.
Dude, look at the back of his head, man.
You can see it going.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's hard to see.
Hard to see,
Kevin, get out of here.
Did you see it?
Get out of here.
Go get our guest.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Just check Twitter, Rip.
Kevin. Kevin. All right.
I love that kid.
He's a good kid.
Unbelievable.
So, Kevin, do you need a key to get back in?
He's like the guy that we talk crap on when he's here, but when he leaves, it's like
over there.
It's like we love Kevin.
I can't find my key.
Yeah, Kevin, do you need my key? No, it's in my wallet on the there we go.
We never can get this fully right here, but we're trying our best here. So Tim Mayza is going to join us here momentarily with the Toronto Blue Jays. Know your foe. This is exciting because actually how the connection came about here. One of I guess it's I want to say colleague. I would say a friend, known him for a while, and actually his name's Brooks. I told him I would do their podcast, which I'm actually going to do right after this. And I felt bad because I kept, we've been busy with our schedule. And then Brooks said, oh, hey, I can fit around your schedule. Great. And then he goes, by the way, do you want a Blue Jay player? And I go, well, if you know one. He's like, yeah, he was my college teammate. So that's where it starts because Rocco, Tim went to Millersville University, Division II school.
Yep.
And so tomato, we are here right now. So this should be a lot of fun coming on here. Any other thing we want to plug here? I think we'll save the Ravens talk then for after, but any other thoughts, Rock?
Do you know Millersville's mascot, by the way, Rip, before we have Tim on and you're quizzed about it?
No.
Would you like to know?
I would love to know.
All right. Do you want to take any guesses real quick?
The Millers.
No, that's actually a really good guess, but it is not Milford Mill. So no, they are not the Millers. The Marauders.
What is that?
Oh, you know what?
I don't know. Maybe we need to ask Tim what a Marauder is.
That would be great.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking up what a Marauder is right not Yeah, this is kind of
and not to be confused with a martyr, right? That's very different.
One who roams from place to place, making attacks and raids in search of plunder. One that marauds.
What the fuck? What does?
That's what it is. That's the definition.
Yeah, no, I guess.
Do you know who else went to Millersville, Rip? Because we talked about this.
Yes.
Pretty cool that Millersville, a small college in Pennsylvania, has two guys in the bigs right now, Chaz McCormick, Tim Mayza. So shout out to Millersville, man. It was a school that, a lot of kids I knew went to at a PA, little state school. So it's cool to see two guys make it big.
Millersville stand up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the beauty of it also with baseball. When we say that you never know where you're going to see the talent come from, it's true. Like that is a pure example right here, and it's great to see so far. I'm a little worried that Kevin might have gotten lost on the way down, but that's neither here nor there.
I think Tim saw his hair and left.
Yes, I that's exactly what happened.
If if Kevin walks in without Tim, what's our next action?
Talk
about the Ravens.
Yeah, then we'll talk about the Ravens without Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's got.
I feel like he's kind of been burnt out, but overall, though, guys, for those that didn't see, yes, the Ravens are playing the Chiefs. It's going to be the rematch on Thursday night to open the season. That's the exciting news, and then we wait for the schedule release, which is on Wednesday night, which should be a lot of fun to see how that unfolds. Everyone always then can plan their trips accordingly, and I'll tell you what, I've already gotten calls about, hey, Ryan, we got to go to Kansas City. Well, we might consider it.
I hate that. I hate that we're playing in Kansas City first.
Why? I had this conversation with Kevin the other day. I want your explanation, because if I'm a Ravens fan, or if I'm the Ravens, I want to get that game out of the way as soon as possible, because that's the only game that everyone can think about, because it was the last team you guys played, lost to them in the AFC Championship game. So why not get that game out of the way, get the hype out of the way, and then worry about the rest of your season going forward?
Because there's no hype for me. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, we're going to be in the first week of Zach Orr ever being a defensive coordinator.
Fair.
The offense now with Derrick Henry is going to be in the trial period.
Okay.
It's just, there's so much in the early, there's nothing to build off of. There's no hype like, oh, this is going to be so dope. We get to see them for, week 13 to help with the playoff seeding and stuff. It just seems dry.
I disagree. And the only reason is, and that's, it's kind of agreed to it, because I respect, like, for once what you're saying. And
Thank you.
Agree with it to a point. But from my perspective, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way out there about this, but to get that game out of the way early and then to worry about the divisional opponents and the rest of your schedule going forward, because that one's going to be circled on the calendar, man.
Yeah,
and players can say what they want about it. Maybe it's not, but we'll ask Nick Moore. It's going to be a game that is circled on your calendar regardless. The hype is going to build. You're going to be not worried, but you're going to be wanting to play the Chiefs and beat them and take it to them. So if they can take care of business early, get it out of the way and set the tone, set the tempo, it's going to give this fan base a lot to cheer about going forward. And that bad taste in your mouth from the AFC Championship game as well, it's going to go. I think it's going to go away a little bit as the season goes on, because now you're locked in. Now you're locked in. Game one. If you beat the defending champs, you can only build from there, hopefully.
Hey, Rocco, why don't you stop talking?
All right, sorry.
Thank you. No, that's good. We're getting our guest set up here, and he's got to sit next to you, unfortunately. Sorry, Tim.
What's up, Tim? Good to meet you, man. Rocco, how are you?
What an interaction there. That's Zach over there. Look at this. People helping people. And then that you met Kevin.
Sorry about that.
We'll get Tim all situated here. If this will be good, but this is a treat for us as we get ready for the Blue Jays and Orioles series at Camden Yards. Starts tonight at 6:35, I believe. And if I'm mistaken, I can ask a guy that's going to be playing in the series. So just to make sure that we got our ducks in a row. And if
you want to go behind.
Yeah, if you don't, it's okay either way. This is the hardest part of it, to be honest.
No,
Can you hear us though?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, and you sound fantastic. Hey Tim, thanks for joining us. So Tim Mayza, everybody, and now we get the nice round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so honestly, it becomes almost like a know your foe. I try to give people context of players that the Orioles are going to face. Coincidentally, I do breakdowns, Tim, on this giant thing that people can't see behind me. And maybe this is good for you. Everybody that we've talked about ends up playing very well against the Orioles. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great, actually.
Yeah, so give the context about how we got connected. One of your high school or college teammates from this area, Brooks, that I know, and I'm actually doing his pod later on today. And then you have the same agent as Gavin Sheets, correct? White Sox outfielder, Baltimore resident.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I played with Brooks at Millersville, so got to know him really well. And then Gavin and I have been connected through our agent, Jeff Randazzo. So we taken some fantasy football together in the off season, and that's kind of where that connection was made. And then the trash talk starts from there.
So let's start with that. So Gavin likes to think that he owns you end quote, when it comes to fantasy. And I got to say, I'm like, hey, maybe Gavin's wrong. You also didn't do well in fantasy for the Blue Jays season, right? Because there's the video of you. Tremendous work as the bat boy.
Yeah.
Right. You finished in sorry, not the sore wound there, but you look great. I got to know then, who'd you pick in the first round to come in last?
Yeah, that's kind of where it gets a little bit embarrassing, I guess.
Oh boy.
I had Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Was my first round pick.
Solid.
Which is great. And then the rest of the roster just kind of went down from there. But no, yeah, I finished last. I was 4-10, and then didn't really know what was going to come with it, or the punishment that would come, until really probably 4 days before the bat boy was announced, and it was me. So I had to rock the 4-10 record.
Yeah, we have the picture up for our audience to see.
I mean, you lived it.
Yeah. But no, I had fun with it. I figured, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right. And I gave 110% that day as bat boy for the Blue Jays.
Damn right you did, and that's how you do it. That's how you handle it. By the way, my buddies from my league at home, they're just stubborn on doing Waffle House, and I guess they like it. Maybe they don't. I actually got to go as commissioner with the last place finisher in next month to do that. The bat boy seems more fun, and it's baseball. It's friendly. Well, I hope you can beat the Fighting Gavin Sheetses on the field and off the field in fantasy football. But Rock, we were just talking about Millersville University, because Division II, amazing also the context. And I think we're trying to figure out, what's the name of the mascot, Rocco?
The Marauders. I just had to quiz him on that because I went to school and I went to Temple. So I'm very familiar with Millersville and whatnot. And I think it's really cool, man, that you guys, you not only have but you have Chaz McCormick in the bigs right now. So 2 guys from a small school in Pennsylvania to be able to do that. What was that journey like? And do you ever look back, reflect, and be like, man, we actually made it to the bigs. Like, this is crazy right now.
Yeah. The reflection part, I probably don't reflect as much as I should on the journey, kind of like when you're in it and you're doing the day to day and you're just really focused on what do I need to do today to help us win. So I don't know if the reflection is gonna come anytime soon. I'm just kind of enjoying every day and enjoying the process of trying to help us win ball games. But yeah, it's I think that conference, you look at it as a whole, and it's been some really good baseball, and there's been some really great players come out of there. Chaz and I obviously from Millersville, but you have Lou Trevino, who came out of Slippery Rock. Joey Wendell came out of Westchester. And it's just like it's been a solid conference, and Millersville's really taken off. There and I, we joke around a lot that if I was getting recruited right now, he probably wouldn't touch me. That's kind of where Millersville's at, and they've really taken off. So great program. Coach Sheehan and I still talk pretty much every week, if not multiple times a week, and really great connection there, and a great school.
Now, you went to high school in Pennsylvania. Was that one of your only offers? Like, what did your offers look like kind of coming out of high school?
Yeah. I had a couple Division I offers, mostly as a bullpen guy, a left-hand bullpen guy, which maybe they looked into the future. But at the time I did not want to go to the bullpen. And I had a lot of the PSAC schools, the Pennsylvania State schools, who are in the same conferences as Millersville offer. And I really was interested in at least attempting to become a 2-way in college. So Millersville was one of the few schools that obviously that gave me a chance to at least try to hit and try to be a position player and a pitcher. That lasted maybe a year, and then I went pitcher only. But yeah, that's kind of it was a perfect scenario of a guy who was willing to give me an opportunity to be a starting pitcher and a position guy, and a school that it's what do I value, and I wanted to go to a place where my parents could maybe drive and see me pitch and see me play. So being an hour and a half from home was a perfect balance of, it's not right next door to where they're constantly knocking on my door, but if they want to come up on a Friday and Saturday and watch me pitch, they can too. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, and you got through it, and then you got drafted, and then welcome to the minor leagues. Everything you hoped and dreamed of, right?
No.
So I try to explain to little Kevin here. First off, is Kevin's bedhead an issue for you?
He did walk behind me when I came up.
Dude, it was so much worse. About 10 minutes ago.
I have chronic bedhead, so I'll wet my hair down to everything. It pops right back up.
We were worried because I didn't hear anything for a while, and I'm like, it's either Kevin got lost.
No, he found
or
Tim found it great. He found the place.
I wasn't worried about Tim here.
No,
I
we
was
were
worried about you.
Okay.
It was
So I'm
like
glad-
you see the reverse toupee, and you got you get a little scared. You want to run away, Kevin, because that's what it looks like on the back of your head.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
Yeah, it's crazy,
You're a
but
good kid, Kevin.
You're
I don't
doing
care.
great.
I don't care what they say about
Thank
you
you.
on Locked On.
Thank you.
But
Stay to be-
so Tim, to give people context, I played 8 years professionally in the minors. You, I think, spent 4.5, 5 years in the minors. Is that right, roughly?
Yeah, drafted as a 21-year-old and then debuted as a 25.
Yeah. So
yep.
shout out to you. Amazing. But then the thing that's interesting, the minor leagues, again, nothing that you and you know what? The new guys they have it easy now. They have no idea what it was like to really grind before then.
Yeah, and I'll when you get close with some of the guys, and obviously there's a lot of guys who go to major colleges. I like to give them a little heat as well. That ACC, SEC, you guys are getting pampered compared to what we had to do in Division II in the PSAC. So I'd like to think that my Division II roots set me up perfectly for what the minor leagues may not have been able to offer. So yeah, it is a grind. That's really, you hear it all the time, but that's probably the best way to describe the minor leagues is a grind. And you get closer to teammates because there's probably 5 of you in an apartment splitting costs. And but yeah, I actually have some of my best memories from the minor leagues and from those moments when you're stuck on a bus for 12 hours or you're sharing an apartment with 5 guys. It provides some great moments through that journey as well.
Yeah, people don't really understand that, and I tell Rocco this. He's not made for it, to be honest. But
It's true.
It is true, but
not.
It's a grind to get to it. It's also what I try to tell people, at least in this age, like for an overall conversation, SEC, ACC, no matter where you go, if you have talent, you got to get through the minor leagues. Because I've seen guys that were ACC Player of the Years, SEC Player of the Year, and then not be able to get to that big league level. And then you have to go through all these towns and you feel like you're taking a step back is kind of what we're getting at here. So it's really just been an amazing journey. And for you, though, you got into a rhythm. But I think, Rocco, you had it on the stat because you did talk about a adjustment or setback. You had Tommy John, right, Rocco, in 2019? Is that correct?
Not only that, you got the shoulder dislocation in 2022. Not to bring up your injury history, but I just watched the video yesterday, and I'm sure you hate to see that. But that's like, man, just some bad luck right there. Just yeah, you want to build off that.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I guess for those out, you made the adjustment at the big league level, which if you can talk about how you adjusted and then also kind of working through the injuries, because I think that's another mindset when I talk to a lot of guys that I think for everyone out there to listen, like that's a whole different animal. And to have it happen multiple times and you keep coming back, what was that all kind of been like for you to continue on with your career and you've had success despite the setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, my first two years in the minor leagues probably could not have went any worse. I tell people a lot that if the Blue Jays wanted to release me after the second year of my minor league career, like they had every right to do so. So looking back, I appreciate them kind of sticking with me and understanding, kind of the person that I am and the work ethic that goes along with it, and knowing that I was going to be able to make those adjustments. But yeah, it took about 2 years to adjust, and then it was kind of like back against the wall. Like it was a wake up call. I got sat down at the end of that second year, and it was like, hey, you better show us something in spring, or else you're kind of like on that chopping block. So I kind of went in with like a carefree attitude in that spring, like, hey, I'm just gonna let it rip because this might be it for me. So if I'm gonna go out, I might as well kind of go out with a bang and put my best foot forward and kind of took off from there. And then, at the big league level, you make another adjustment. I was a 4-seam slider guy coming up through the minor leagues and, got to the big league level and the 4-seam wasn't getting the swing and miss and it wasn't really missing barrels. So had to make another adjustment there, started tinkering around with a 2-seam just in catch play. And from there kind of saw some positive results. I started easing it into the repertoire where I'd use a 2-seam arm side, stick with the 4-seam glove side. But throughout 2019, started seeing some real positive things with the 2-seam and the results that I was getting. But then, at that September, I I think it's kind of ironic. It was like Friday the 13th. That,
Oh,
that
wow.
I ended up having Tommy John.
no.
So it's like, hey, if a Friday the 13th comes, maybe I don't pitch those days anymore. But
Put it in the contract.
Yeah.
Never again.
Oh my goodness.
So coming back from that, it was, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to whatever flaws I had in my delivery or in my stuff or anything going on. I had 14 to 16 months to like clean everything up. Any arm action issues, any delivery problems. I saw it kind of as an opportunity as to have a fresh start and to really build from the ground up and make any adjustments or tweaks that I needed to become a more consistent and a better pitcher. And with that came the COVID season, which I kind of thought was, hey, if I'm going to get injured, maybe the COVID season wasn't the worst time to do it, just seeing what those guys had to go through. And it, kind of allowed me to rehab from home. Whereas before I would have had to do the spring training, the GCL season and kind of go through it all in Florida. Whereas it allowed me to have that flexibility to do it from home. And then, just came back in 21 and the rest is kind of history until kind of the unfortunate shoulder dislocation, which was another thing. Like I was like, oh man, well at least it wasn't the left shoulder, it was the right shoulder, and I think I'm a little like, oh man, because I was going to try and make a play on a squeeze. I didn't get the guy out. The guy's safe at first, and here I am on the ground with a dislocated shoulder. I was like, this is tough.
Talk about nothing going right in that scenario. Like, hey, I'm going to make a play. Oh, he's safe. Oh, my shoulder's out of socket. This is everything I hoped and dreamed.
Yeah, and I honestly, I had no clue what a dislocated shoulder felt like. I watched like Friday Night Lights. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the training room. They're going to pop this thing back. And tomorrow I'll be back throwing. Like I thought it was as easy as that. Well, I knew nothing. But yeah, we still, I'm really close with Jordan Romano, our closer on the team. And he still makes fun of that day. He's like, Tim, the game was so delayed because you were just rolling around and around.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, Jordan, I had a dislocated shoulder. He's like, yeah, but you delayed the game. We had to wait for you to get off the field. Your legs weren't hurt. I'm like,
I got to agree with Jordan. That's pretty selfish of you. Like, suck it up, man up, put some ice on it. You know?
Yeah. So he would joke around, and obviously it was after he found out I was okay that he decided to come up, and he's like, Tim, do you have to wear the sling? Like, now the media's asking questions, and I got to answer them. I'm like, yeah. So, but no, that was a little. There was a lot more gray area in the dislocated shoulder. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel like. Like I was throwing with one of those connection balls to make sure that it like didn't pop out of socket when I would go to go to pull my front side in. But that ended up being like 15 days, which is kind of which looking back was crazy. But I was really determined to like not let it kind of derail me for the rest of the season. I was like, I'm getting back from this as soon as possible. My left arm's not hurt, so I'm going to keep that going while my right shoulder heals, and was able to make it through. But looking back, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I trust the training staff. My left arm's going to keep going in shape, and as soon as I can be pain free with the right shoulder, I'll be back in games before we know it. So, but yeah,
it's like a case of, what are friends or teammates for with Romano ripping you a little bit. It's like, I feel like we all have that set of friend group where like, if that was us on the ground, they'd be saying the same thing. So, I mean, that's how your guys love you, that, they enjoy your presence and whatnot. So that's awesome to see. I did want to talk. So the first pitch that you threw, because you see a lot of guys going through Tommy John, dealing with the UCL injuries right now. And whether it's a sprain, whether it's a complete tear, I mean, it's just pitchers are falling like dominoes, and it really, truly sucks to see. Yeah. When you took the mound for the first time post-injury, what was the mindset? Was there any? I don't want to call it fear, but were you hesitant to throw a ball at first? I know the journey to get back on the field, like that's the ultimate goal, to get back out there and to throw on the mound again. But what was that mentality and that mindset the first time you're throwing a ball post-injury there?
Yeah, the first couple throws when you're at 45 feet, it is an awkward feeling. And with each threshold, there's a little bit of like hesitancy with, oh, how's this going to feel? The mound for me wasn't the step that I was concerned about. It was the long toss. So I was long tossing and pulling down. And for me, it was like, okay, if I can pull down and do all this long toss, like the transition to the mound is going to be much easier. And then it's like there's a little threshold. So you're on the mound and you throw all these bullpens, but then, okay, there's live with a hitter in.
Mhm.
And then there's a little extra adrenaline, a little extra stress maybe because you're trying to amp up a little bit. But once you get comfortable there, then it's like, okay, now there's game intensity. But I was so just like loose coming back. It was almost like a, what do I got to lose?
There you go.
I came back from Tommy John and I'm on the field. I made it back. I think my first appearance was in Yankee Stadium. So I made it back. It's actually funny. I got announced. They announced my name wrong opening day of 21.
Electric.
So here I am. I'm gone for a year. I'm like, oh, I made the opening day roster, and I hear I hear number 58, Tom Mayza. I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, now people don't know who I am, so I really don't care.
And you had already been there since 17.
That's what makes it worse.
Yeah,
That's what makes
yeah.
it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, sugar.
So, but no, I was like, yeah, I was so just happy to be back
Mhm.
that it was like, I'm taking the field. I'm in competition. I'm pitching at the highest level again. And so, yeah, there was no, once the game started, there was no like, what's this going to feel like?
Yeah.
It's just, hey, we're going out and competing with whatever I got. And that's kind of the mindset that I took post surgery.
That's awesome, man.
It's always trying to trust it, and it's you just got to keep building things up over time.
Yeah.
Like I had an ankle injury back-to-back years in the minors, and trying to feel like you can believe in what's happening.
Yeah.
And if you have any type of weird feeling and sensation, that thought jumps in the back of your mind. All athletes have it,
Yeah.
but especially now, this is your livelihood. You've been through it already, and all you want to do is get back. Well, I'm glad you're back, Tom. It's really good that you're back. That you're back in the saddle and doing well. So what are excuse me, sorry.
Spit it out.
Do you have a few of these in your place too? Sorry, I had this little guy. No,
No.
this is a
No.
vintage Blue Jay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. How about that? Stop traffic.
Yeah.
And for those that are wondering here, Tim is an opposing pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. We don't hate him. It's all love here. Zach might have a different feeling in a few hours.
Yeah, on the field, I'm sorry. I do hope you give up home runs, but it's nothing personal.
Remember this face that'll be heckling you from the bullpen tonight. Yeah.
Zach, you got a question about with pitching?
Yeah, Tim. So I was looking just through Baseball Savant earlier, and you're one of the, especially 2023, top ground ball pitchers in the game. Is that something that, is in your, when you're preparing for a game, you're like, hey, I want to keep the ball on the ground, obviously better than giving up fly balls.
Yeah.
But what is that like throughout your career? Was there just a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to be a ground ball pitcher? Was it when you were adding different pitches? Like what kind of got you to the point of, okay, my best, me at my best is getting ground balls?
Yeah. The thought of getting ground balls never really was like, I'm going to add a sinker and it's going to generate ground balls. It was, I'm going to add a sinker and I want to generate weaker contact.
Yeah.
And so the ground balls, I think just kind of came with it. And really, I think the ground balls is a result of pitch execution, which is really what I think it comes down to for anybody is like whatever you have in your arsenal and whatever your best pitches are, can you execute them? And so, yeah, I think just when the sinker gets executed in the areas that I'm trying to execute it, the ground balls tend to come as a result of that. I've always been somebody who tries to get weak contact, or I want contact early in counts. I think being a 2-pitch guy, the longer guys staying at bats, the more they're kind of locked in on, okay, that pitch moves this way and this pitch moves that way, and okay, where does it start for it to finish in a spot that I can hit it hard. So I think the ground balls is just really a result of being on the attack and being able to execute pitches, when I need to.
So what you're saying is you would rather though give up a ground ball than a homer, or do you like giving up home runs?
Yeah, I'd rather give up a ground ball than a.
What's
than a homer.
your least favorite home run you've given up?
Oh, I don't know.
Or memorable?
The most memorable one's probably the one to Santana in the playoffs. In 22.
Well, I'm not trying to bring up sore subjects here. You mentioned this, so that's the least favorite.
Yeah.
So you'd rather give up that one than the one to Judge?
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't even think of the Judge one. I'm just like,
you say you don't want to bring up sore subjects, and here you are bringing up sore subjects.
Well, if it makes you guys feel better, I get brought up every time that I'm not good. I'm not as good as my dad. I'm terrible. You're a disgrace to the family. Joe Sr. in here was writing that he hates me because I curse and my father hates me. So I get the struggles. And the thing is, I only bring it up because I know I joke with it and mess around because I know how hard it is to pitch. And like not the playoff one. That's the one that stings the most, but it's a part of the game. You know what I mean? But yes, the goal is not to let's give up a home run here. This will make my team happy.
Yeah. And with Judge, it was, I gave up that homer and I'm sitting there and I'm like, is he going to hit another one? Like, it was pretty late in the season. I said, am I going to be the guy to give up that homer on the season? And yeah, cool. Well, not cool, but now I went to, we had like a team signing, a couple days after that happened. We had an off day. A few of us went to a memorabilia shop and signed some baseballs. And one guy comes up, he goes, hey, do you mind signing? I'm like, yeah. He goes, can you put Judge home run?
No.
So I'll get that every once in a while. Like we'll go to Yankee Stadium and they'll be like, can you sign it? Oh, and can you put Judge?
Oh man.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. But I only gave up the tying one.
Yeah, you didn't give up 62.
Right,
you didn't give up 62.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
And so it's just another home run.
Yeah.
Now that one in Texas where the guy hit, did you see the fan try to reach for that ball in Texas
Like
though
dove
too?
over the railing
And missed it by, I don't know, 15 feet.
Yeah, and me and him were teammates. We were in Bluefield together in 2014. So me and Jesus Tinoco. So we gave up the tying and the record, and we were both from the same team in 2014. So when I saw he gave it up, I'm like, no, the two guys
back to back.
Yeah, tough year for the 2014 Bluefield Blue Jays. Man.
What do you think the autograph signings are like for him now?
Yeah.
It's like,
sugar.
Yeah.
Well, you hate to see it. I will say, I think that's cooler than breaking your bat in high A and having 3 strikeouts, going 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, and someone saying, hey, can you write the game where you went 0 for 4 with 3 Ks? I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
and can I shove this bat right up your ass too while it's at it? But no, I would never actually do that. But it's just fun to kind of look back at those moments. It's crazy how connected things are too, by the way, that the fact that that's one of your former teammates is the one in the situation. Now, obviously, Judge got a lot of people. He actually just destroys the Orioles, by the way, over the years. And I mean, maybe not so far this year and hopefully not going to win. Now that's Juan Soto. Juan Soto had a great series here in Baltimore. That's a part of it. Have you ever had a hitter that is there a hitter that you love to face that's actually, one of the top hitters? Like you're like, man, I actually feel really good facing him, and vice versa. Is there someone you're like, I can't figure out how to get this guy out?
Love to face.
But you don't say love, but like you have success. So like, for instance, Cole Irvin was on and he goes, I actually have struck out Ohtani the most out of any hitter. He's hitting 290 off me, but for some reason I'm striking out Ohtani the most. So I was like, wow, that's an interesting kind of fact. Yeah. Because you don't think about Cole saying, give me Ohtani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if I even know the numbers of guys to be like, I'm really good against this guy, really good against that guy. But like Brett Gardner, I could not figure out.
That's interesting.
He's like the one guy I could not figure out. Like I would get ahead of him and he'd kind of battle. And then the thing with, the longer at bats go, the more susceptible I think they are to knowing where pitches are going to end up. And he would always just kind of smack things the other way and get singles. So I think, Brett Gardner probably was my least favorite guy and to face. And that was back when the 3-batter minimum wasn't a thing. So
that's right.
The Yankees would come to town and it's like, all right, I'm going to see Gardner probably 3 times in the next 3 days. And, I'm not tricking people by any means out there. So it's like most hitters, I feel like they know what I'm throwing. I know what I'm throwing them. And then it's just a matter of, am I executing and are they seeing something that I'm not necessarily throwing? Are they looking for something and I throw something else? So.
Yeah, hitters can just be a pain in the ass. But for the Gardner's like one of those guys, just scrappy. And that's why I love just bringing it up because there's just always somebody I think even one of my former teammates, Spencer Watkins, was with the Orioles. Now he's with the Nationals in AAA.
Yep.
He was saying like Bo Bichette was the one guy. He's like, Vlad felt okay with.
Yeah.
Bo, didn't matter where it was. That dude was going to find a way to get a hit off me. And it was just like, I don't know what to do. And I just find that fascinating from the hitter side. One thing that people ask a lot, I think, Kevin, this goes to you about with being in Toronto. Do you want to ask the question real quickly? Because I know, Tim, are you okay? 5 minutes, we get you out here?
Yeah, no.
Cool.
No,
Wait, we don't want to make you miss the bus.
No.
I'll give you a ride over if I have to.
No, we're good. Bus is not for another couple hours. So.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been kind of known for this question, Tim. But going back to your journey a little bit, you obviously, Pennsylvania were the roots. You go in high school, college, but then you go through the minors. When you get to Toronto, did you know anything about Toronto and just how everything was culture-wise? Or did you get there and you're just like, what is going on? This is so different than what I've been known to love and grew up in.
Yeah. I knew very little.
Okay.
So yeah, I've learned to enjoy Toronto, and I've learned to love Toronto over the years, especially as my family has grown. I'm no longer the guy who just like goes back to the hotel, sits there until the next day, and then just goes to the field. Like, I think when I was by myself before like a wife and kids, I would always just go like hotel or Airbnb. I'd walk to Tim Hortons, walk back, and I'd sit there, play some video games until the field.
Yeah.
And now having a wife and kids, I have to like get out more, like crazy, you need
to get your walk in, resets.
Yeah. And so I've learned to really enjoy kind of Toronto and everything about it. And it's a great place, like so diverse and really you can find any type of food, and they got a great restaurant for it. And it's truly a great place to play, and happy that I'm there and with a great city and a great organization.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto is a place I tell people. I feel a lot of people love going to play in Toronto. Yeah. They love visiting Toronto. I know sometimes with the logistics, as far as going through customs or whatnot, that's just a part of the process. But actually, the city embraces the team. It's when the team's doing well too. It seems like it's really vibing up there. Yeah, it seems like a really good spot. So I guess we'll ask you about. I guess you're here playing Baltimore. It's actually been a little bit of a rivalry between the teams the last couple of years. A little bit kind of. Well, I tell people when you're in the business, you might not even think of it that way. You're like, we just got to get a job done. It doesn't matter if you're playing the Orioles, Yankees, but that's what it is. In this case for you, what have you kind of seen? Because you've seen the Orioles from really bad to now this rise. I mean, what's something that catches your eye as as a player or a fan of the game that they're doing well?
Yeah. I mean, in recent years, I think at least from a pitcher talking, it's just they're kind of tough to pitch to. There's not a whole lot of striking out there. I think in a day and age where it's all about, swing and miss and getting strikeouts and outstuffing guys, I think they do a good job of putting balls in play and kind of forcing you to kind of pitch contact and and now they got a little bit of pop in that lineup. So it kind of makes them tough to pitch to. Adley is honestly a pest up there.
Yes, he is.
He will foul some pitches off. He'll see some pitches, and there's always that kind of power aspect to him as well. But yeah, just up and down the lineup, just got a lot of guys who make contact and get you to pitch the contact. But yeah, they got a good lineup and they got a good thing going over there. So we're just coming in and trying to play good baseball and hopefully get a couple wins.
Yeah, I gotta ask this question then though, because you mentioned Adley.
Yeah.
Does anyone talk about Ryan Mountcastle? Because
he
I don't mean to be that guy.
You're gonna be this guy.
I'm gonna be
this guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. Ryan seems to like playing you guys. I don't know why. I don't know if it's something with Toronto. I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The way you talk about, Judge and Soto kind of is kind of the way we talk about Mountcastle. And it's just, you got to attack him. And obviously it seems like in recent series, he's done real well against us. But yeah, he's just, he's a guy who likes, for whatever reason, seeing when the Blue Jays are in town.
He hates the color blue.
Yeah.
Like the powder blue.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't know what it is. It turns him into the Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. So yeah, he's been tough on us. We just we'll find hopefully areas of weakness that maybe we can exploit, and hopefully we can exploit and go from there. But yeah, he's kind of been a thorn in our side recently. But like I mentioned before, like that lineup is
it's good,
pretty complete. So
yeah.
it's not like you could just kind of be like, hey, we're not going to let Mountcastle beat us, because then he has guys behind him who are pretty good. As much as we talk about Mountcastle and like Henderson and Rutschman, I think Santander doesn't get nearly enough credit in that lineup
at all.
So
that's the thing I appreciate, honestly, the baseball side of it, because a lot of people have been saying, because Santander has struggled, they're like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Go call someone up. It's like, well, wait a minute. If I did my math right, and I do my math right here, Tim, he's been the best run producer for the Orioles the last 2 seasons. He's averaged 30 home runs, led the team in RBIs and extra base hits. But because he's hitting 217 right now, that people are going, he's a little bit down. Tony's very calm, and he's actually 3rd on the team in RBIs with 25. What do you got, Rock?
The fact that you could talk about a player's success on the O's, but like when I do it, it's a problem.
No,
because
okay.
last week, Cole Irvin had a scoreless inning streak, and I asked him about it. He was on the show, and I, brought it up. Different. And the very next game, what happens? Cole Irvin, his scoreless streak, it gets snapped. But like he can bring up Mounty's success and this and that, and it's all okay because he played baseball and I didn't, Tim. So it's like I guess it's okay when Ryan does it, but when I do it, it's just not.
You don't, Tim. If you're throwing a no-hitter, are you going to say
that's? Oh my God, that's completely different. I mean, the announcer. Anyway, go ahead.
Are you superstitious when it comes to your pitching?
I think the right answer is no, but I think there are times when things are going good, you might start falling into traps. Like, hey, I was at this place at this time, and I gotta be there again.
In the minors, because the Lynchburg Kill Cats saved my career, because I was hitting 160 for 6 weeks after I came back from injury. Thought this is it. Went to this pizza shop down below that did karaoke, and I got 3 hits that night. Where do you think I went the next night? Right back to that spot. Right. So that's the type of thing Rocco is trying to say. He's like, hey, Cole, you did something you'd never done in your career, man.
It was just exciting. I was happy for the guy, and I got a little ahead of myself. Next time, I said when we have Cole back on the show, I'm going to say, hey, Cole, you could have done better. And that's how I'm going to start the interview, and then we're going to go into it. And then I'm going to talk about it.
And luckily, still pitch fine. And the other thing with me is, again, we talked about this. You come on this show, players have had success. I'm just saying, Cowser came on here. He went deep that night. Westberg came on. He's still in fuego right now. It seems like death taxes, and he hits a walk-off hit. Tom Mayza is going to go. I can't wait. I'm going to get some Tom shirts now. Yeah, I'll send them up to Toronto for you. We have 2 fun questions. We'll get you out of here, though, because this is, I think it's interesting. There's been a few benches clearing recently. Yeah. I think, Zach, this is where you're going with this.
Yeah, Tim, being in the bullpen, when the bench is clear, how useless do you feel running at? Like, is it just an annoyance when you're like, you got to run all the way there, and by the time you get there, everything's already over, and then you just got to walk back? Do you see the benches clear and you're like, really? Are we doing this?
Running in for a benches clearing, very similar to running in pitching, kind of damage control. By the time you get in there, it's like, all right, hey, where I got to do? Who am I separating, this and that? The thing that cracks me up is like bullpens like this, where the bench is clear and you're running side by side with the bullpen. I'm like, hey, if we're going to do this, should we just stay out here and we could just go to one another's bullpen and kind of do it that way? Because you're running side by side, and then you get there, and then everything kind of calms down, and you walk back with the bullpen that you just ran, with the opposing bullpen. And it's like, hey, so how about that benches clearing, huh? What'd you do? I held this guy back. All right.
Yeah. So actually, I think the recent one in Baltimore was the Brewers and Orioles. And so I'm close with Bauman too. And I just saw Bauman just kind of hopping out there.
Yeah.
Like, are we just, he was down that night. I'm like, are you, and he goes, well, we just needed to get out there. And I go, I don't know what we're doing. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. It's kind of, it's interesting. It's not like back in the 90s when, have you ever seen the Armando Benitez Orioles Yankees brawl?
No.
Oh, that would be a good one to watch. And poor Tino Martinez, man. a couple times the guy in front of Tino when he was on the Mariners and the Yankees hit a go-ahead home run, and Armando Benitez wasn't too happy, and he just drilled the next batter. That next batter was Tino Martinez. So 98 twice to the body.
Yeah.
And benches cleared. The brawl went into the dugout, and the bullpen ran in and tried to square up. So I'm waiting for you to get in there and square. It's a different day and age, but you're saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, when you get in there, you're like, you really don't. You're just hoping to calm it down a little bit. I mean, by the time you get in there, everything has escalated and come down. You're like, all right, I'm ready.
Well, what they should do is when they're fighting on the field by rule, the bullpen should also fight. Right, you come out of the bullpen, you just fight right there. The bullpens also fight.
Yeah, is that what they should do, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the next.
I mean,
CBA.
I knew a guy, roomed with him in extended spring training. He was injured. His first day, in the big leagues, just got called up. Was the Batista Odor?
Oh, wow.
That was his first day in the big leagues. Was that day of the fight? I'm like, what a day to be a part of.
That's incredible.
That's a welcome to the MLB moment. Right there.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's like, it's my first day. Like, I don't want to get ejected. I don't know what to do.
And that's the other thing. Is like you're just trying to figure out how to be a big leaguer here. And like, oh crap, two of these guys that have been around for a little bit, they're going at it. Let me get in there. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sent back down because I'm suspended. I mean, it's a different day and age, right? It's different mindset mentalities, and it's all part of it. Also, one of our friends, shout out Cube, did a stat check. Who do you think you've struck out the most in your career?
Oh wow.
It's going to be an AL East opponent.
Yeah.
He was a Boston Red Sox.
I don't think strucken out is a word, by the way, Rip. I think it's struck out.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
I'm gonna strucken out you here in a moment here, Rocco. Go ahead. Do you have an idea here, Jeff?
I'm assuming he's probably left-handed.
He is.
Wow. Playing still or not?
He is, I believe.
I don't think he's on an active roster though, is he?
Let me look it up.
Center fielder.
Oh, is it Jackie Bradley?
Jackie Bradley Jr.
There you go.
And we were teammates for a little bit. Never knew that, but yeah, wow, yeah, that would make sense because before the balance schedule, you'd play Division 18 times, and yeah.
I was thinking about this too. I would have hated facing you as a lefty. I would have despised it because you have such a funky arm slot. I've already seen it.
Yeah. And
I'm like, you know what? Luckily, I don't have to face you. And even after the fact, I'd be like, hey, I still like you, but cut me some slack here, man. But it's just the inner workings of the game. And again, the connected, of course you played with Jackie Bradley. Of course you knew someone that was in the Batista Odor. And of course, then you and your teammate are a part of history with Aaron Judge. Yeah. But who will remember that? Okay, this is a fun one that we wanted to bring in. This is a very controversial one in Baltimore. So are you okay with this?
Sure.
Okay. So this one is sponsored by our friends over at Stuggies. Have you ever had a crab mac and cheese hot dog? Have you had one there? Okay. It's a big Baltimore thing. So Stuggies in the stadium, they do a crab mac and cheese hot dog. It's phenomenal. That's not where we get controversial, though. This is where we get controversial. If you're going to the ballpark and you got a choice, putting a condiment on, mustard, relish, ketchup, or you can go plain. Tim Mayza, what is going on your dog?
Ketchup.
Yes, sir.
Just
That's
ketchup?
what I'm talking
Just
about.
ketchup.
That's what I'm talking about. That's like I get killed for that, man. Everyone, he has his plain. He's a relish guy. Like I enjoy ketchup on my dogs, and that's it. And like everyone just roasts me for it, and I don't understand. So it's like I love it.
Yeah, just ketchup.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was actually an easy answer, but
is that like I wonder, Tim, if that's like a PA thing? If we're just like built different in Pennsylvania, so like we just go with the ketchup on the dogs, and that's what we enjoy.
Well, it's because like you guys kind of know you don't know each other, but Rocco, I think, knows
this
your
is all right. You talk about a small world. So my dad knows your dad and your uncle.
Okay.
And my buddy, who's like a really good friend of mine growing up, is like your cousin, but he's like, he has no clue that I'm his cousin. Went to Millersville at the same time, Costello family.
Okay.
So it's like small world, crazy. But my dad knows your father and your Uncle John as well.
Yeah. So my grandmother's maiden name's Costello.
Yeah, so that's like,
That's probably-
but you probably never met them, but it's just like, yeah, just small world.
Yeah,
Had to throw that
wow.
out there. It's funny because when Tim pitched at Camden Yards, I think the last time I went up, my dad's like, hey man, like if you get a chance, like go over and say something to Tim in the bullpen. And I'm like, dude, like first of all, he's in the middle of a game. Second of all, he's not gonna give a crap. So I go over to the bullpen and I'm like, Tim, and you come over and I'm like, hey man, my dad says he knows your dad and uncle, and you're like, that's great, man. You just went back to pitching. And I'm like,
Well, especially when you explain it as
Wait, that happened?
yeah, dude, I swear to God, it happened. It was so funny.
Tim. Don't you love when
I call
fans
my
come
dad,
up and
I'm
tell
like-
you
I'm like,
stupid
hey, Dad,
shit?
you made me look like an a-hole, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. So it was great.
Yeah,
It's like
see,
now
Look at
we're
us.
reunited by putting ketchup on the dogs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you can't tell you how
Dude,
many
it was so
times
funny.
we've had moments like you, Rocco. Exactly, and especially if you explained it. Hey, my dad knows your cousin's cousin, friend's
Dude, I don't even know how
brother.
I phrased it, but I was like,
Clearly
first of
not
all,
good
why
enough.
I was like sitting there like, number one, why am I doing this? And number two, I was just like, this is not going to go well. And yeah. I appreciate you. Good man, Tim.
Tim, you could smile it off too, man. Be like, yeah, this guy next to me is a crazy son of a bitch. Oh God, yeah. You know what, Justin? There it is. I'm so awkward. Rocco, you're a good kid though.
Unbelievable. Man. It
It's
is what it
okay.
is.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, Tim. Before a lot of people want to ask about the folder ball question, but Brad's not here, so
Yeah,
I feel a
Brad's
little
not-
wrong
We'll leave it
asking
to
that.
Brad.
We'll leave it there. Hey, do you want a roost start for the road though? By the way,
Yeah, sure. I'll
Are
try
you on
one.
are you on a diet or no?
Kind of, sort of, but I can use some. I can put on some weight.
Okay,
There you
good.
go.
So
There
That's
you
what
go.
Rocco says. Rocco goes between bulking and cutting depending on the meal he's having.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. If there's like snacks and you're offering me free food, yeah, I'm gonna take it. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Right?
got
It's
your-
like,
You got your pre-workout today?
I will take that after I leave here, and then we'll go to the gym and
A couple streams ago, he took his pre-workout on stream.
Oh,
He
dude, it was bad. It was brutal. I was just like,
And then he was
yeah,
yelling
never
at
doing that
us
again.
like it was our issue. He's like, "Why are we still on?" I was like, "You took the pre-workout an hour before we finished."
Yeah, it wasn't the best idea I've ever had in my life, but
it's not.
I think
we
it was
also-
a better idea than going up to Tim in a bullpen game at Baltimore.
I
So,
think
you know,
anything is
that's
probably.
What's worse, one chip challenge, your pre-workout, or you awkwardly going up to someone you've never met and trying to articulate that you know
one
their
chip
cousin?
challenge,
Yeah,
hands down.
that's
That is
easy.
number
That's
2,
easy.
and then the pre-workout's number 3.
One
Have-
chip challenge. is
Have,
just awful.
have you ever? Did you know what the one chip challenge is, Tim?
No.
Oh no. Well, don't ever try it.
Don't.
When we hit over 5,000
Dude,
on
it's- yeah.
YouTube, Rocco volunteered with Zach to take the
Dumbest
hottest
decision
chip.
of my life. Yeah.
on
Wow.
and
Never
that,
good.
well, so originally I said let's take it at the end of the stream so like we can have an actual show and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They vetoed that and we're like, no, as soon as we get on, let's do it. So me and Rocco are not able to talk for the first 45 minutes of this stream.
We thought he told me he's done it before, so he thought it was going to be, I was like 1 to 10, like worst pain you've ever felt in your life. And I think you said a 10, like
Yeah.
you were up there. And I'm like, how bad can this be?
Yeah.
It's like, I like spicy foods. I enjoy it. And you see people do the one chip challenge. I literally sat up all night watching videos of people just like hyping myself up. Like I could do this. You could do this. We had milk, we had bread. You're supposed to last like, they had like a meter on it. If you lasted like 3 to 5 minutes, you were like a champion. Like you could, conquer the world. If you lasted 10 minutes, you're insane. We got to, I think we had the timer out.
1 minute and 14 seconds.
1 minute and 14 seconds. I was reaching for the milk immediately. My face started to swell up, everything,
was
man.
so
It's like,
bad.
You
would
know what?
never recommend doing that. It was one of the worst experiences.
Tim, you know what?
of my
I'll
life
send
by
you the
far.
videos.
All
I'll
right.
send you the
Yeah.
videos and the facial expressions. It's a great meme. It really is. And it's so idiotic
So
because it was
bad.
all self-inflicted. I did not say that you guys should do that when we hit a milestone. I said we will come up with something else. And Rocco's like, we're doing the challenge. Great.
Never
That
again.
sounds like misery to me.
Yeah.
But the Roost Tarts wise, there's strawberry cheesecake, there's brown sugar, there's Oreo, there's also like churro waffles over there. I'll show you here in a second when you
Right.
get up here. And then Kevin, you can have your little Kevin's corner here for a moment if you
There
want.
you go. Fix your
Oh,
hair a little bit
nice.
too, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, but for everyone here, this is Tim Mayza, or formerly also known as Tom Mayza. But hey, good luck tonight. Thank you for joining us. And actually, I'll be over at the yard later, so I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Tim
Thank
Mayza,
you.
everybody.
Tim.
Appreciate you.
All right, Kevin's corner.
Kevin, take it
All
away.
right. I didn't get to talk about the Ravens on this show.
Yeah. Thanks.
We're.
Were you finishing a thought when I came back about them, or were you done?
No, we and Rocco were just arguing over it. So yeah, let's get your thoughts. Ravens open up the year at the Kansas City Chiefs for the banner day.
That's what I mean. It's motivation, right? I mean, hold on, we got to replace Mini Rocco here with.
Why is he getting in the frame? There's no reason.
You're not even in the frame. You didn't even come in the frame.
Sit right next to you.
You left to literally.
You're still there. Barely got in the frame.
Continue.
Yeah, it's I think for me it was the matchup that I would have wanted for the Ravens. I was pretty vocal about that on my show for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, this is the healthiest the Ravens are going to be all season, week 1.
Yeah.
But knock on wood, obviously, barring any preseason or training camp injuries. But I think it's just a motivation factor too, right? The Chiefs are going to have all that pregame celebration, acknowledgement, and everything that goes into that. And so I like it from that aspect. Now, a few of the things that I guess I'm quote unquote worried about, and I know we kind of talked about this before we started the show, but this will be Zach Orr's first time ever being a defensive coordinator at any level. I mean, that's a big test. Andy Reid against the first-time defensive coordinator, that's a challenge. The offensive line is not going to have as much time to gel. So there are, I guess, consistency issues, or, I mean, if you want to just call them gelling issues, where, if you're in week 6 or week 8 or week 10, you'd have more time, right? Especially we saw it. But some of the things that give me confidence is this is no longer year 1 of Tom Munkin's offense. Obviously, it's week 1 of year 2 of Tom Munkin's offense, which can still give you a little bit of feeling out some new personnel. How do they want to use Derrick Henry? Now, I expect them to run the ball more this time. I would hope they run the ball.
So.
Hope the ball. Well, you didn't even do it in your voice.
I hope
Soldier Boy.
I hope so.
I hope so.
It's not Soldier Boy.
It's
Kodak Black, Kevin. Get your rappers right.
What is? Oh, Soldier Boy did the.
He did the Drake.
Word for word,
Drake,
bar
Word for word,
Drake.
bar for
That's
bar.
right.
Kev,
He stole my whole damn flow.
even though I'm not on camera, me and Zach had the conversation when you went to get Tim. It's about, because you kind of touched on it, but we talked about it on Locked On. Just with Zach is not opposed, I wouldn't say, but he would rather the Ravens maybe play the Chiefs. What, like week 13? You said, Zach?
Yeah, like
something like that.
And it's not that I would rather. I would rather us play them.
Yeah.
The first week, because it just doesn't mean as much to me. Like I just
Fair.
if we go 0-1 against the Chiefs, I'm not gonna sit there and go, oh, like that it's over, like whatever, like we're 0-1.
You might not be, but a lot of the fan base will be like, the sky's falling. If you just lost to the Chiefs, it's cancel the
you're
season,
saying
all this
you'd rather
stuff.
have more pain losing in week 13 than you would.
No, I
in
just
week
would
1?
rather, like, because then if it's like week 13, I see it as like a litmus test of like, okay, how legit can this team be? Can we go beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead? Whereas week 1, there's just so much going on. I think the biggest reason why I don't like it is because if we win, it won't mean much to me.
Really?
Like if we win week
Zach was
1, it's kind of like last year when the Lions won week 1 against the Chiefs. Like it was really cool in that moment, but then like a few weeks in, you're like, okay, like it's just week 1. Like
I get that.
I'd rather us go and see week 13 primetime Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. Okay. In Arrowhead, how are the Ravens stacking up right now against the Chiefs?
But basically, Zach, you didn't see the Chiefs last season until the playoffs, but you saw that last season in the stretch. Like the Ravens are the best team in football because of the teams they beat in that stretch. It was the Niners, the Dolphins. I mean, they beat some heavy hitters right there in the final weeks of the season. But at the end of the day, they didn't get to where they wanted to be, and that was a Super Bowl. So this is what I was kind of bringing up, Kev, with that, with Zach and I talking about it, is week 1, this game is going to be circled on the calendar for these guys regardless, more than a game maybe against the Chargers, even though that'll be a great storyline with Harbaugh, Greg Roman, and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. But this is the team that ended your season last year. And if you get to face them week 1 and really set the tempo, I think that means more to a team and to a fan base than a game maybe played week 10. Regardless, you're going to have to go out and beat them, anyway. But get it out of the way now and do your thing.
Well, then that's the thing. I just see it as more of it's just get it out of the way. Like win or lose, we're just done with that game now. Like you get what I mean? Like it's just, you have 16 more games after that. Just not focus on that, but I don't like, I've been looking so forward to, I want our opportunity to go beat the Chiefs. And I get the whole point of it being week 1, it being the banner raising, like maybe putting that chip on the Ravens' shoulder again of like, this is what they took from us. But at the end of the day, like, it's just, I've never liked being that weak. Maybe it's because I have PTSD from Ravens versus Broncos.
It's because of that.
Maybe it's PTSD Ravens versus Broncos. But and I'll openly admit, I'm not excited for the Ravens season. Like, I'm not excited.
No, Zach, honestly, just based off of observing and figuring out, like,
fans are
where the fan base is right now, that championship loss took everything out of the fan base. Like, there is excitement is starting to drum back up. The draft, I think, brought a lot of that back for some people. But literally, I've told this story before. I had a person, I do Bleacher Report live streams. I had a person come on my stream and say I did a post draft, like draft class recap. And they said, this is the first time I'm consuming any Ravens content since the day they lost. We're in May. And that happened end of January. So I literally had to go through the entire offseason and say, hey, Derrick Henry is now a Raven.
Yeah, man.
Patrick Queen is a Steeler, so that's kind of
crazy.
And Jadeveon Clowney, he's here. And so literally I had to outline the entire offseason for him. It just seems like the excitement in the fan base. I mean, I didn't see as many people getting excited for the draft before it started. I think once the draft came, people were like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is fun. But it just feels like, to me, the loss has taken so much out of the fan base to the point where excitement is there, but I think it's not going to truly get to the level it was at unless the Ravens make it back to the AFC Championship.
Tell you when Zach's going to be back. Zach's going to be back that first game when Justice Hill scores three touchdowns. The first game he does that. Yeah, there you go. Or that first Derrick Henry stiff arm is just going to hit different for you, man. You're going to be like, we're so back. I can see the tweet now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, we're talking about this on May 13th. By the time, Rocco, go to the other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Seat.
We got to clap for Justin soon too.
Yeah. Why do we?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's
finish your point, and then we'll keep moving on.
One more thing,
as we get closer to the season, like, hype is going to start building. Same thing that happened with the Orioles. But at this moment, I can't, like, I see some people like are super hype about us going to Kansas City to start the year. It's like, okay, this is the perfect thing for us to do. At this moment, it's not something that has changed my feelings about today. Like, I'm not suddenly like, oh yeah, week 1, we get a chance to redeem ourselves, because it's not redeeming ourselves. We have to do it in the playoffs. And I think that's the other big thing with the Ravens this season. They could go 17-0. I don't care until we get to the playoffs.
I also think that the Orioles' success, it does help out with that. Like, because in years past, not necessarily last year, but the Orioles were kind of an afterthought when you got to a certain point in the season. And it was like, okay, how are they going to let us down this year? Or it's just going to be pain throughout the later months of the season. But now, this fan base has the Orioles to look forward to as well. And I know there are some fans that value football more than baseball. There are some fans that value baseball more than football. There are some fans that are right down the middle. It's like Ravens, Orioles, let's go with both teams. But I think the success of both teams, it definitely has helped this fan base maybe heal a little bit, because you blink your eyes and oh, wait, baseball season just began. Here's opening day. And the Orioles are killing it right now. But I don't know. I could be just making things up, but I feel like for some fans that could be the case.
Well, I also think there are two things. One, I also think with the excitement, or I guess lack of, Zach, what you're talking about with Kansas City, is whenever you have to think about Kansas City, if you're a Ravens fan, and we're playing in week 1 and we're doing all this and we're gonna go to Arrowhead, what do you have to think of when you think of the Chiefs? Is the championship loss. And when you think of the championship loss, you have to go back and remember all of those, bad memories. And so if it was like Cincinnati in week 1 prime time, I think everyone would be like, oh yeah, like Ravens owned Cincinnati last season, and like that's a huge rivalry and da-da-da. But that's because of the Ravens stomped Cincinnati twice last year. Whereas Kansas City, it's like, oh, well, now I have to relive the Zay Flowers fumble. Now I have to relive the Lamar interception and all of that stuff too.
And here's the reality of it. Well, and we can move on then, because I know you guys have been talking about it, and it's exciting. But here's the thing. It's exciting because football will be back. But the reality is it ain't going to mean shit, because then you got to go to wait for the playoffs and do it again. So you're excited because it's prime time and you want to be back out there. But at the end of the day, this is something where whatever happens in week 1, so much is going to change over the course of the next 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, and one final point here before we move on is going back to, week 1 versus week, what did you say, Zach, 13 or something along those lines? To me, I think the reason the NFL did this and the reason, it's best on best. I mean, you get to week 13, who's injured for both these teams, right? I mean, we know Rashee Rice is not going to play in this game because he's got a suspension of I don't know what coming for him. Rumors are at least the first half, so we're going to see. But what if Mahomes goes down, or what if Derrick Henry, what if a big player or two go down, which is going to happen. All these teams deal with it all year, but you get, knock on wood, obviously, with no training camp and preseason injuries happen for both teams, you get best on best. And I think the NFL, the Ravens, the Chiefs, everybody, I think that is the ideal situation because one, for the NFL, obviously Mahomes, Lamar sells, right? It is what it is, and it'll draw more audience. But two, I mean, that's what I want to see, right? I want to see a healthy Ravens roster go up against a healthy Chiefs roster, whereas in week 13, who knows how injured the Ravens are, who knows how injured the Chiefs are, and obviously that could play advantage or disadvantage for either side. But to me, I think that's where the thinking is, for me at least, of, if we're going to test where the Ravens are, even if it's early, like I get where a week 1 loss is not going to have quote unquote like playoff implications to where if you beat Kansas City in week 13, does that give you the tiebreaker for the 1 seed or something crazy like that? Like that's the excitement you're talking about. And I get that.
Yeah.
But to me, if the Ravens are missing half their secondary, if the Chiefs are missing half their offensive line, like that doesn't give me a full barometer test of what if those guys come back in the championship game if they rematch. I mean, that to me, I think if you get best on best in week 1, that's kind of my thinking.
Well, I think because we should move on, Zach, but last point.
I was just going to say, my biggest thing also is with the addition of Derrick Henry, week 1 is not going to give you the Ravens full offense. It's still going to be in that adjustment period. If we had returned a similar offense, I mean, obviously it's a very similar offense, but you had in a Derrick Henry. If it was just returning the offense, I think it'd be different. But I have a feeling it's going to be that weird feeling out period the first few weeks of, okay, how much are we using Derrick Henry? What kind of scheme are we going to use him in? And I could just see the offense looking sloppy. And I would have preferred maybe to have a tune-up or two earlier in the year than immediately be like, okay, we got to find out what's working with Henry while we're playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Moving on, but just a couple games into the season, it took the Ravens some time to just iron everything out offensively. And Todd Monken's the first year under his system. So, Zach,
that was
so I can turn your volume down.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't like to hear myself talk.
I don't either.
I know. Nobody does. But yeah, I agree with your point, Zach. And I don't know, but I do truly think there's a lot to be excited for this football season with the Ravens, with the squad they have, and with the players they do have returning.
Yeah, people, hell, yeah, of course you're going to be excited. I love it. It gets me all feeling types of ways. I love when you have the crossover with baseball and football at the same time. It's amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun, but so many things got to happen between then, and I'll leave it with this. Even talking with Eric DaCosta last week, his comment was, we got to win the games in the big moments. Like that was paraphrasing it in it. So in this case, it'll be an exciting start, but it's not going to mean anything in the grand scheme of where the Ravens have to go. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. What's already happened so far in the show, Tim Mayza of the Toronto Blue Jays joined the show. And so he is a left-handed pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. And he gave us a little bit more of the know your foe. And as you can see, though, they're regular guys. I know a lot of people are out there and like, I hate the Blue Jays. And hey, you might, but Tim's a great guy. If you're talking about pursuing and persevering, no better example than what Tim's done. Division II player, battled injuries, been in the big leagues now multiple years, and being able to live it out, his dream, and he's doing it the right way. And like I told him when he was leaving, I said I was messing with him about giving up the home runs and talking about that because I said, shit, dude, when people are going to get on you a lot, and he's like, yeah, you just got to roll with the punches. Yeah. And that's the part of like, yeah, I get that. That's why I brought it up. And these guys are just going out there trying to make a living. So we just try to give you the other human element to it. So it's been great. Now we'll clap for Justin, though, because we're saying if you are an Orioles fan.
Thank you, Justin.
Justin says $1 for every game the Blue Jays finished behind the O's last year. Well, thank you for that. We will take that for sure. Guys, a little bit of a programming change here, which unfortunately we are sorry to tell you. We will then touch on a different thing because there's apparently paparazzi out there for Kyle Stowers.
Yeah.
Kyle Stowers sighting. So we'll get into that in a second. But unfortunately for today, and I know, sorry, Joe, James McCann, something came up. So we're trying to reschedule for possibly a different day. Maybe it would be tomorrow. We're going to let you guys know what's going to happen there. So we apologize for that. Again, we do the show early because we try to give the convenience for the players, but they have a life outside of baseball. They have to do what they have to do. So we will let you know when that's rescheduled. Jim Riley is going to join us upcoming about the Toronto Blue Jays and kind of preview the series. But should we talk about whatever is going on with Kyle Stowers right now? Because I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. So there's been, I'll just bring it up right now. This has been going around at the moment. It is Kyle Stowers supposedly in Baltimore right now. I mean, that is definitely Kyle Stowers, but
that's him. He looks good. That's like that. That's a Zoolander look right there too. The pose. Have you seen the movie, Kevin?
Zoolander.
Don't say it.
Come on, Kevin. It's not about zoos.
That's who posted that picture. I'm seeing Kenny Z.
Yeah. That's why I'm not seeing anything else about it. So that's take with a grain of salt at the moment. There's just been a sighting with this. Doesn't mean there's been no reports of anyone being sent down. There's been no reports of Kyle Stowers even called up. This could simply be Kyle Stowers is on the taxi squad. You don't know what it means, but yeah, it looks like he's
who's the NFL player that everybody remember the picture at the airport and people kept
Larry Fitzgerald at Boston.
It was like, but this is actually Kyle Stowers in that picture.
Okay, actually I gotta post that.
Yeah, but also too, I mean, who
Ghostwriter?
We don't really know. Is it even a real picture of him actually here right now? Is that picture taken weeks ago?
No, that's why let's not even speculate.
No, we're not going to speculate it
until the Orioles release something or someone.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. It just we saw something roaming around. It's funny how just Instagram, Twitter, or whatever can just pick it up here. So that's why. I mean, I got nothing to comment on it because it's a photo that we have no idea. All I know is that Kyle Stowers is pulling off a great male model look. Whatever photo that is, whether that's now or was in the past here, Kyle Stowers could be a male model, no doubt about it. Should we talk a little bit about? We talked with Tim about the fun parts of it, and it's interesting. He did mention that if Mountie played the Orioles all the time, he would be the best hitter on the face of the earth. I love the fact that he's aware of that. I think he said specifically how we talked about Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Yep. That's how the Blue Jays think of Ryan Mountcastle, which I think is hysterical.
I love that quote because it's so real. You talk about the realness of baseball players and, you get them in a clubhouse setting. You might not get that. You're not going to ask Tim Mayza about Ryan Mountcastle. I mean, you might sometimes if you're a Blue Jays beat reporter. Like, why have you guys struggled to get Ryan Mountcastle out? But asking him in a setting like this, it was fun because he gave a really fun answer. And it's the realness to it. It's like, yeah, we talk about the guy. Like, we know that he didn't say that he owns them, but that's how this fan base feels is Ryan Mountcastle owns the Blue Jays because every time he takes, steps into that batter's box against the Blue Jays, it's like there's 3 guarantees in life. It's death, taxes. I'm not going to say the third one. You know why? Because I'm not going to jinx anybody, Rip.
Good shit,
I'm done talking.
Good.
I'm done talking.
Very good.
Shut my mouth. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm not going to finish that sentence.
I'm just gonna mute you. I just already muted you. He's going to keep talking. He's already muted. We stopped it for him. We stopped yourself. Now you're unmuted.
I'm done.
Okay, good.
I'm done.
But it is true. Ryan Mountcastle has absolutely crushed the Toronto Blue Jays. That's an objective fact at the moment. He has. Now, if he does in 2024, we'll find out. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but it's just really funny when you look at that. So should we actually talk a little bit more? And actually everyone's even commenting. Rocco is learning. Yay, Rocco. Good job, Rocco.
Guys, clap for me.
Okay, next topic.
All right, so the Blue Jays are coming to town here. Obviously, they're already here.
It's ridiculous.
Someone gets clip clapping for themselves.
I hate this show.
Me.
Yeah, well, no, you clapped for yourself because you thought Joe was being nice to you, but in fact, he was absolutely roasting you.
I kind of want to, while I do this, I kind of want to eat my Iron Rooster restart, but I'll wait a second. But actually, while we are waiting for that, we haven't even dove into this. Before we actually take our trip to this series preview, why don't we take a trip, guys, on our Adams Jeep of Maryland? So let's get riding. Oh, no, Kevin.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, Kevin.
Wait, why are you shaking him? What
Alan
are you?
says he saw Mason Miller at BWI.
Kevin, why is the legs moving while you're driving?
Yeah, what?
Oh, goodness. All right. Our friends at
He got his
Adams Jeep of
revenge.
Maryland up in Aberdeen. They have that beautiful sign right behind Zach right there. Whammy. Adams Jeep of Maryland. They are our good friends, good spot, or our first sponsor even with the show. Love what they do. Love Chuck and Matt up there and Steve. They have been fantastic to us. And again, you buy any pre-owned vehicle up there at Adams Jeep of Maryland in Aberdeen, and you mentioned that you watched the Ryan Ripken show, they will give you a $500 gas card. That is what it is. Or you can say, as long as you know the show, you can say that Rocco jinx players and Kevin is Kevin. And they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So it's and honestly too, if you need your car serviced, anything like that, my car was a zoo. You guys rode in my car up to Hollywood Casino. I apologize for that, but I got it cleaned, detailed, looks phenomenal.
I didn't ride in it.
No, you did
You guys
not.
made me drive back from West Virginia by myself.
So for those who don't know, I was actually fought over by Ryan and Rocco. It was a very intense battle to see who was going to drive me back from Hollywood Casino, just because I'm worth fighting over. But
okay,
Ryan ended up winning, and Rocco had to drive back by himself because Rocco scarred me with his Philly road rage.
Well, and that is one way to look at it. But guys, let's take a trip to the series preview here. So the Blue Jays and Orioles are facing off for the first time here in 2024. And look, as it currently stands, the Baltimore Orioles are sitting atop the division at 26-13, while Toronto is sitting 8.5 games back at 18-22. What do you got?
Something. Rockabaco quoted that picture, and he just said, "Roster move coming with Stowers." So
it's a real photo.
I think
It's
that
official.
hold on.
What?
Who's got
Garoli, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, with the Athletic, said she put it out 2 minutes ago that the Orioles are calling up Stowers. Sources tell the Athletic.
And that's all we have.
That's a legit person.
I know, but that's all.
She's
But
legit.
I'm saying there's no move.
Rock's
We don't
legit.
know the course.
We didn't want to throw anything out there as we were looking at just a picture of him. But
Well, I guess we'll find out. That's very interesting.
I wonder if it's because people are speculating potentially SETI. He has been out of the lineup.
Well, they're saying potentially IL.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting at.
I'm
It's like
going
it
to
could
be crushed if
I mean,
Cedric's
same.
hurt again.
And you hate to speculate that, and hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, the fact that Kowser's been in center, and you had, what was it, 2 games ago? You had Heston in left, Kowser in center. When's the last time?
Oh, Hearn was even in left.
Yeah, Hearn was in left.
Which, you know what?
You want to tell him that next time? Tell him how you feel, Zach?
I just don't understand why we keep trying this whole infielders in the outfield type thing. I understand him playing right field because that's different. I just didn't get the whole why he was playing left field. Like, I almost would have seen if Tony could have more range out there,
So there's a chance here, guys. We'll have breaking news on this stream of who that roster move is going to be. And then Zach's going to have to change the thumbnail all over again.
I was going to say, I'll start the thumbnail now.
SETI's month of May has not been great by any means. So it could be, it raises the question.
Say it to his face, Rocco.
No, I hate it for him because this is a guy that we really want to see succeed. And when he's healthy, he's so talented, and, we want to see him return to that all-star form. But just bringing up the numbers here in the month of May, he's 2 for 24.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we're wondering here is we're not going to speculate more, but is there an injury here? Because the only other option that I could see it as is that they are moving just one of their outfielders that they already have in a Ryan McKenna, or you're looking at Kerstad. But other than that, unless Cedric's hurt, which again, we are sitting here going, who knows?
I will say, I do love how quick Twitter works, because as soon as that picture of Kyle Stowers came to fruition, there are people on like, I'm hearing rumors that they're actually trading Heston Kjerstad for pitching now. And it's like all that you've
checks
seen is a picture of Kyle Stowers leaving a hotel, and they're like, wow, Orioles are getting pitching for Heston Kjerstad. It's like, let's wait to see what happens, people.
So we're going to let's dive in a little bit more to now this Orioles Blue Jays series as we get more information as it comes out. Okay. So in this case, as we talked about, the Orioles are sitting at first place. They're 8.5 games up on the Toronto Blue Jays that sit at 18-22. Now the Orioles, as we know, they hit a lot of home runs. They lead Major League Baseball in home runs. Second, the New York Yankees. The Orioles have 60 home runs. The Yankees have 57. Toronto overall this year, it's been a very interesting start for them, and it's really kind of been up and down. So up and down that they're actually 27th in baseball in runs per game, sitting at 3.68, while Baltimore is sitting in third, averaging just over 5 runs a game. The only 2 teams ahead of them are in the National League, the Phillies and the Dodgers. So
the Dodgers.
And I didn't even have that on me. It was always on Zach for the entire time. So I'll say that again. That is. So I'll say that one more time so you guys can see me saying it. The Orioles are third in all of baseball, scoring over 5 runs a game. The Blue Jays are 27th in baseball, scoring 3.68 runs a game, while the Orioles are first in home runs in the league with 60, leads all of baseball, and the New York Yankees are at 57 right behind them. So should be interesting to see. The one thing that the Blue Jays are supposed to be known for as well, guys, it's supposed to be pitching, but guys, guess what? Pitching this year has been a struggle for them. Currently, as we talk about this, they are 25th in baseball with a 4.59 ERA. So I guess when you look at the numbers of how everything is, it makes sense why they're 4 games under. But Zach, don't we feel like this Toronto team should be doing better? And quite frankly, some of their stars have been off to slow starts.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this lineup and you see the guys you see just right off the bat. You get the Bo Bichette's, the Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s, you get the George Springers, and you're like, okay, this lineup should be able to do some damage. And like you said, Rip, they just haven't. And it's a lot of guys not living up to what their expectations of the year have been. Vladimir Guerrero is struggling, and it's not just he's having a slump, he's doing this. It's kind of I've seen a few, I don't want to say people concerned, but it has gotten to a point because now it's affecting his defense, and you can tell that his struggles are leaking over defensively and his defensive struggles leaking over offensively. And it is one of those things where if you're a Blue Jays fan, you're looking at this and you're going, look at this lineup 1 through 9. Why are we not having more success? Guys like Dalton Varsho, who Varsho for a little bit actually was probably one of their better hitters so far.
Yeah,
this year.
He leads the Blue Jays in home runs so far with 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so Dalton Varsho, he's a guy that you didn't want him to have to be the star of this lineup or the guy that you were relying to be a big run producer. You were hoping he was going to be a complimentary piece. Obviously, they traded Gabriel Moreno for him, who was a top catching prospect at the time. So they expected Dalton Varsho to be a big upgrade for this team, but it has not. The pieces around him have not lived up to the hype or what they were supposed to do, which has now put more pressure on the other guys to succeed. And even when they are, like you said, Rip, they're getting only a few runs a game, and then the few runs they're getting, the pitching has been an issue. So they're giving up more runs. And it really has just been kind of the perfect storm of bad to start for the Blue Jays this year, it feels like.
And also right now, if we're talking about their stars, now Vlad Guerrero Jr. has started to get going, hitting 273, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. He's starting to pick it up. But guys that haven't, Bo Bichette is sitting at 203. He's, if I'm reading this correctly, 29 for 143 with only 2 home runs. This is a guy that is an all-star type player. Then you have George Springer hitting 200 right now in the season with 3 home runs. So overall, it's been a really big struggle for this team to push across runs. And that's going to be a problem, especially when you're facing a team like the Orioles, which we have mentioned. And Tim even mentioned this lineup 1 through 9 in Baltimore continues to give teams struggles. So, Rock, do you have what the starting pitching matchups are going to be for this upcoming series?
Yeah, it's going to be
Game 1 tonight, it's going to be Barrios and Burns. We already knew that.
Mhm.
And then in Game 2, right now, it's scheduled to be Bassett and Bradish. So Battle of the Bees in back-to-back games. And then in Game 3, that series finale, you got Kikuchi and Irvin taking the mound for their respective teams. So pretty solid pitching matchups right there. Looking forward to seeing Bradish back out there, maybe going 6 innings plus this time. It seems like the Orioles are truly working him up and not, people had their questions about, all right, Kyle Bradish went 4 2/3 against the Yankees. Why was that outing so short? I feel like, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it's because they don't want to overwork him right away. They want to get him back coming off a UCL sprain, working him back in the mix, getting up to where they feel like he should be. And I mean, he's getting there, man. He's been great in his past 2 starts. And the sky's the limit for Kyle Bradish this season if he can continue to stay healthy, and we hope that that's the case.
Yeah, and right now, in general, when you look at the matchups here, Kikuchi and specifically, I just had it up here for the first
Bassett
starter.
Oh, you're talking about Irvin.
No. I'm talking about sorry, I missed the date. Barrios starting tonight, and then you have Kikuchi. Those are 2 of their guys that have sub-3 ERAs for the Toronto Blue Jays here. So guys that they expect to give their team a chance to win, right? The Orioles, though, their pitchers have pitched really well, Kev. And then on top of it, I mean, we haven't even talked about this, but Jordan Westberg has been on an absolute tear right now. And you already had to worry about Gunnar and Adley and Santander. Guys, Jordan Westberg, Kev, is tied for the team lead in RBIs.
Yeah.
And he's off to an incredible start here for Baltimore.
And we've talked about this. This is why the Orioles felt comfortable with moving off of Joey Ortiz, who himself is having some moments this year. But Westberg is a guy. I mean, Zach says the line, 10 times a day probably now.
All he does is produce.
There it is.
And I have to say it so much because what's he doing, Kevin?
He's producing. If he worked at a grocery store, it wouldn't shock me. He's working with the produce, right?
Zach didn't like that one.
He's laughing. He's literally laughing.
No, I'm saying he didn't like that one when I sent him a picture of that. Yeah.
Well, yes, but
yeah.
The thing about Toronto, though, guys, is when you're talking about actual, the team doesn't strike out a lot of batters. Toronto's pitching staff does not. And the Orioles, in this series, what I want to see is good contact. Because to me, we know that a lot of these guys are producing at a high level. The offense can go through some dry stretches at times. But to me, Toronto is 26th in the league in strikeouts. And to me, it's interesting because you're talking about a team that you're getting some good pitching matchups. The Orioles offense, wasn't a great day yesterday for the team in general, but we see the Blue Jays are at the bottom of a lot of offensive categories. And I think that hopefully what the Orioles can do here is get solid contact for the most part. Westberg being a part of that, Adley, Gunnar, etc. And we'll see what this move is with Stowers and how that impacts the lineup for the next few weeks, whether it's an IL stint or just a guy getting sent down. But I think the Orioles have an opportunity to put together consistent offensive performances. And I think it starts with Jordan Westberg, the way he's been swinging the bat, and Gunnar and Adley and all those guys.
Yeah. And again, it's a well-oiled machine right now in offense. And I don't think that people besides us in here realized how good Jordan Westberg was going to be or is. And actually, if you're curious, you should go look at the breakdown, and maybe I'll do an updated breakdown on Jordan Westberg, because I said before, when you look up, he's going to be up there as far as in the stat category, leading kind of around where the team is. And I think, Rock, you have specifically the stats for Jordan so far this season.
Yeah, man. We talked about it yesterday. Jordan Westberg could very well be an all-star this year. He's playing at such an elite level this year, and this is his first full season, or set up to be his first full season in the major league. So really great stuff from Westberg. He was already top 5 in multiple categories among third basemen in all of Major League Baseball, and those numbers just continue to rise. I want to bring up some of the stats he's currently top 5 in and just get a load of this. So Westberg, he's 3rd in hits. Okay. This is among third basemen, by the way. So in that category, all Major League third basemen, Westberg right now, 3rd in hits, 2nd in batting average, tied for 3rd in doubles, tied for 1st in triples. He is 5th in home runs. He is 3rd in RBIs, tied for 3rd. Total bases, he's tied for 2nd. Okay. And then we get into his on-base percentage, he's 6th. Slugging percentage, he's 2nd. OPS, he's 3rd. And his wins above replacement, among all Major League Baseball third basemen, he is number one. That's, I mean, you're looking at a future all-star. I mean, he could be an all-star this season, but like a star in this league. And you know how we looked at the Texas Rangers last season?
Mhm.
They obviously went out and won the World Series. I hate to pour salt in the wound, but like they had how many all-stars in the infield? I think it was 4 or 5. We could potentially, what's that?
Well, it was not
had-
starting, but every single player was a finalist for an all-star in their infield, including catcher.
I think they had like 3 all-stars as well that were actually
the starting
Yeah.
all-star. It was
they had
Heim.
multiple all-stars in the infield. And I think that is much of what we could be looking at this season with the O's, with Adley behind the plate, with Gunnar at short, with Westberg at third. And then you got a mix on the right side. Can Mounty put up the numbers to be a potential all-star first baseman this season? That's a question that, hopefully we'll have the answer to soon. But I don't think that's the question either. But those 2 guys on the left side of the infield, they're producing at an alarming rate. And Adley behind the plate. It's the young birds, man. The baby birds. The future is certainly bright in Birdland, and these guys are leading the charge. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, Westy is a guy, I think the quote that I had was, he's a guy that will not get the recognition that he deserves, but when you look up at what he does, you're going to see him be there, and he could lead this team in so many offensive categories or be near the top. And for the Orioles to continue to grind out and win games, a big component of that is going to be Jordan Westberg. And right now he's tied with Adley Rutschman for the team average of 304. So it just feels like also this is the other intangible. No moment's too big for Jordan. You could say that about players. He's proving that right now. Walk-off hits, big plays, always coming up in the clutch moment when you need him, and he's fearless with it. His demeanor is the same. I think he really took to heart last year of trying to figure out how to help this team, and it was humbling. And you guys can go back and watch that interview that we had with him, is that he said he had to learn how he could just help the team and change his mindset, and that was going to allow his talents to then showcase themselves more. And look, he's one of the many Orioles that is going out there and playing extremely well. It's not just him, but you're damn right, he's one of the big reasons of it. Oh, and by the way, we mentioned earlier, Anthony Santander still has 25 RBIs despite his struggles. This lineup top to bottom here is just I argue, and that is my point, or maybe it's biased. I think 1 to 9, this is probably the most exciting lineup. So hey, if you're new to the Ryan Ripken Show, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Monday and Thursday, and impromptu shows on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, any day that ends in a day. And we're still kind of awaiting the news here. I know a lot of people are wondering about Kyle Stowers. Apparently a move is imminent. We don't know exactly what's happening at the moment.
Can I just kind of talking about Kyle Stowers real quick? How can you not feel great for the guy? Because I'll be honest, I didn't think we'd ever see him in Camden Yards again, barring some potential injury. We don't know what the move is, obviously, but it just felt like he was facing such an uphill battle at every turn. Especially, he has this monster spring training. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't even seem like he was really considered. Rip, you've talked about the business side of baseball. Some guys enter into spring training and it's kind of just a foregone conclusion in the coach's head. Hey, no matter what you do, you're probably not making this team. So it felt like that was it for him. Then he's having this massive year in AAA, just hitting the cover off the ball. And you were like, man, Ryan McKenna gets the call up. Heston Kjerstad gets the call up. And it just felt like there were all these opportunities that you could potentially see him called up. They passed on him. And it just felt like more and more he wasn't going to get the opportunity to see another big league game with the Orioles. So from that aspect, I could not be happier for Kyle Stowers. And I hope we've seen with Kjerstad obviously not playing very much at all. But, you hope that maybe Kyle Stowers can get a few at-bats here and, continue his hot 2024.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw I think it was Rolling with Rock. And also, Rolling with Rock has done a tremendous job with our Discord page, by the way. I mean, give him a round of applause here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Guys are rock star. Really appreciate it. But Stowers has the ability to play center field, correct? He can play center field, but I don't think the Orioles want him to play center field. He is more of a corner guy. I think that Kowser would play more center, to be honestly. And Harrison, don't take Cedric. I'm with you. I do not want to hear the news that Cedric's hurt, because then I'm going to have to text him and be like, this was my nightmare for you.
Yeah.
Because when Cedric is fully healthy, and I hope that he is, we really don't know. And that's why we're speculating. But a healthy Cedric Mullins is a scary Cedric Mullins, and we're going to have to wait to see. But for Heston, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Heston just because the opportunities haven't been there. I think his talent is it's obvious. It's obvious in my mind, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. But having said that, this Orioles team, and again, if you don't, not going to take it from me, when we had Tim Mayza on earlier talking about this Orioles lineup, this is a really good team. This is a really, really good team where it's hard to crack the starting lineup here. Now, Fat O's fan, any chance of a shocking trade? What do you got?
Well, I'm just saying, with any chance of a shocking trade, we would have. I feel like they wouldn't have made the call up before. Like
we would know. We would know.
Like you would have heard the trade before they then made the move with Stowers. So I don't see. I'd be very, very shocked if this was a part of a trade.
Are we going to give predictions on what we think it is? Or are we not going there?
Well,
oh my God, they traded Adley Rutschman for cash considerations.
Well, cash considerations is a hot.
That'd be a lot of multiple cash considerations coming back.
There's a lot of cash considerations.
It'd be like, how many Brinks trucks would that be?
It's like like the clown car. So it's like cash.
That would be like a whole warehouse full of cash considerations. And it wouldn't be considerations. It would be like, you give me my cash. There's no considerations necessary.
There's a lot of speculation.
Cash aggressive.
I've seen everything from, is McKenna getting DFA'd again? Is the Mullins thing? We've talked about that. Is it for Heston? Like,
I don't even like this.
There are like 4 or 5 different options probably.
I don't even like to speculate until the
I know.
Orioles
Yeah, that's why I asked if
or
we're doing it or not.
Legit people have put it out there, but it's like, no offense to Kenny Z, but you see the picture and you're just on there's no like.
Well, when Rock Kabako says that there's a move being made, we can assume there's going to be a move.
He quoted it. When they all like went to their sources and did it. But shout out to Kenny Z for like putting that picture out there, because
was he just outside of the airport?
I don't know if it was him or someone else, but that was a great picture, great find. I mean,
it was outside one of the hotels.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
They made it seem like it was outside of BWI.
Well, interesting. You know what? And I see this, David. I know Ben Verlander putting up trade proposals. I am so out on any trade proposals at this point in the season, because I think it's just not that it doesn't spark conversation.
Yeah.
It's more so of you really don't know the value of what's being offered and what's happening, and there's so much more that goes into it, and especially the fact that if you look at the track record with the Orioles. What makes you think the best team in baseball right now is going to go and make a move right now when they are still winning games and they have time to figure out if there's going to be injuries down the stretch? They don't want to give up their depth right now. It's not something Baltimore wants to do.
Speaking of Brad, he's in here in the comments.
Well, he's in there as Ryan.
Maybe what's that?
He's in there as Ryan Ripken.
He's in there as Ryan Ripken, aren't we all? So I don't know if he could do this or has the ability to do this, but a poll would be nice. What do you think the Orioles are doing right now in bringing up Kyle Stowers? Like, what is the corresponding?
Didn't you just say you don't want to speculate?
What's that?
Yeah, but now he wants to
I don't want to speculate.
But you just said
the chat to speculate, Kevin. See, use your brain.
You're giving me mixed signals.
Oh, I always give mixed
signals.
Get used to it.
Heel. Ryan, I want to get your opinion on this. Seen a few people talk about it in the chat and then even on Twitter. What would your thoughts on if it being a swap of Kjerstad and Stowers solely to give Stowers an opportunity to get some time at the big leagues, and Heston, we've talked about, is not getting many at bats right now in the big leagues, maybe getting him more consistent at bats in AAA, just a change of scenario for both of them?
Yeah. So I think, and say hi to my little Oriole bird here. I could see that just being an outfield swap. I really could. But I also feel like if you're going to make a move like that, Is there something else? Because it is a lefty bat for a lefty bat. If you do that case and that's why I'm trying to make sense of it. I hope there's not an injury. I really hope
that's
not.
What I'm saying is, did they feel like, okay, Kjerstad is not playing as much as we want him to, and we don't want him to just be riding pine for the continuation of this year?
I think that is a conversation that you need to have your guys that you want to get at bats, and and I think for Kjerstad, he's a guy that needs to get his at bats, obviously. And I saw Brad commented in here about Kiermaier. It's the same thing. Where are you going to put Kobe? And actually. I talked with Tony Penty on the Orioles hangout when I was doing 105.7 The Fan, and we were both in agreement. Kobe's bat's ready, but they don't. The reason why the Orioles haven't called him up, this is not my opinion. This is not Tony's opinion, but our thought is they're not calling him up because you can't put him at first base because you have Mountcastle and O'Hearn, right? You're not going to take those reps away from those guys. At third base, you have Westberg playing there, and they go, well, wait a minute, we'll get rid of Ramon Arias. I don't think it's about any of that. I think it's that the Orioles' comfortability with Kobe playing third. I think that's their thought. Again, this is not my opinion. This is my thought process about what they are thinking. And Kiermaier is a guy where you go, yep, we do not want to waste his time. And that's a good point right here, Zach.
Yeah.
Like these are good problems to have. These are the problems you want to have for a team that has aspirations to go far. Look at other teams when injuries happen and they are derailed.
Yeah.
Derailed. The Orioles are not built like that, which is very valuable.
We've talked about that over and over again, especially, you want to go back to the rotation. We can go back to the rotation where we started at the beginning of the season. When everybody's healthy, that's awesome. But if you have to go through some injuries early, we're unsure about the Bradish timeline and Means. Well, you have Tyler Wells you can throw in there. You have Kohler. Sorry, Rocco's eating.
Rocco's digging through the Iron Rooster right now.
We're in the middle of a show, Rocco. Did you know that?
He's actually getting a Red Bull.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Rotation. You can talk about the infield, and we've had conversations, and we'll continue to have conversations about, well, when is the right time to move off of some prospects. The Orioles felt like it was the right move to go out there, trade Joey Ortiz and DL Hall for Corbin Burns, which was the right decision. But you do have to balance it out with, you're not just going to get rid of every single prospect and bring in all this veteran depth, because you've given up probably multiple prospects in these deals, and you're left with less of depth. You're getting stars, but what if that star goes down or a star goes down? The infield depth is there. Obviously, the outfielders, you're trying to find time for these guys. So there'll be a time and a place where, we talk about trades and which prospects could they move off of and figuring it all out. But their depth is a great problem to have if you're Baltimore.
I agree, and I'm a little terrified. He won't leave me alone.
You're not hit. You hit me. You didn't hit Rocco.
What? Talking about me?
Yeah, I know.
He's mad because I hit.
He hit me, but he's not hitting you.
I hit him with love.
Yeah, but
Ryan knows better than to hit me. Don't hit me.
Oh wow! See, go sit back down. We're gonna have Jim Riley on here, another baseball content guy that actually has a pulse with the Blue Jays. But I guarantee you, he has a pulse on this situation as well. He's going to be joining us here in the next 10 minutes or so. So we'll have more conversation on this. And again, Brian, as we just talked about this, why Kiermaier, I just explained that Kobe, it's about positional value and what they're trying to do and the balancing act of that. Kobe's a guy where that is a guy you're saying you have to play almost every single day for you to come up. And Kobe's bat's ready. I think the Orioles are still having questions about his defense. Again, not my opinion. I try to just give you the objective, what I think the Orioles are thinking, being around what it could be. And that's obviously a talking point here. So we'll continue to see if the Orioles make a move. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button here. We do this every Monday, Thursday, Sunday, impromptu Tuesday, Thursday. And Joe, Rocco is drinking a Red Bull.
Thanks, Joe. I feel like this one's laced with poison, but you know what? It's worth it. It tastes very good right now. So I knew you probably specifically thought that I was going to drink this one. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to my body later, but you know what? It's worth it right now. as we currently drink this thing.
Well, it's better than you drinking the pre-workout. You know, it'd be scary if seeing you drink pre-workout while also like on the blackjack table at Hollywood Casino. That would be terrifying.
That might be some content.
Oh, sugar. That'd be bad. That would be terrible. That'd be terrible. And honestly, for those that don't know, we are partnered with the Hollywood Casino up in Charlestown, not Charleston. Charlestown races, which is about an hour and 15, hour and 20, Zach, right? From this location about.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Yeah. So we're going to go back up there and do more. And you guys, you know what I just figured out also with them is that if you have the Penn Play membership, they're bringing back complimentary beverages, by the way, which we did not take advantage of, but they only are doing that in West Virginia, not in Maryland, not in DC, in West Virginia, the home of the Zach Bollingers. So we are going to have to go back up there and have a little bit more fun. Kevin's going to have a little bit more luck, but, and also we're going to watch some horse races. I am very upset that we missed a horse race opportunity. Very upset about that, but we had a good time. Hollywood Casino, they were great. I actually, do we have maybe a good time to pull up the catching photos for a second of Kevin? Because this also took place at the Hollywood Casino.
We did a whole photo shoot.
Yeah, we did, and not for the reasons you might think. And actually, that's what we were hoping. James McCann was going to break down Kevin's.
Would have been electric.
Oh, we still will.
Okay,
We're still going to get James McCann on.
Yes,
Not today.
Correct.
Scheduling conflict happens. We're pumped to have James on soon and figure everything out. But you can blame me. My fault.
I agree.
I will
I
definitely.
think people are doing that anyway.
Always blame Rocco, even if it's not my fault.
Hashtag
always blame Rocco.
Hashtag always blame Rocco. Yeah. Get that trending on Twitter. We'll know. Zach, do you have those photos of Kevin?
Yeah, I'm sending one. Well, I'm doing it so I can pull it up on my
perfect
screen.
So yeah, after we finish the show up there, they have a little area where it has a little baseball section, and Kevin was showing us how he was first team All-State in 7U T-ball back in the day.
Well, I'm a lefty, so I technically can't catch.
Oh,
look at that! Look at that! Look at that stare. Are you not intimidated by that? Are you not intimidated by that? Do you see? I'm staring into your soul. You see that eyebrow raise?
I cannot wait. And you're still wearing the watch right there. Gold watch, not a big deal. We're good at
actually. That's so.
He looks like the catcher where, like, if like you strike out, Kevin talks smack to you, and you just like turn around and kick him. Kick him.
Have you ever done that, Rocco? Turn around.
No, to you.
Actually, no. I have a story.
To do that to anyone.
Ready for a story?
Oh,
I was.
Here we go. Love it.
I was playing. This was in high school, and you know the friends fighting Quakes. You know, never won a game during my 4 years there on the field.
The Fighting Quakers, yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
So I was at bat, and I had a problem. And Ryan, I don't know if you ever had this playing, but whenever I hit the ball, I would let go of the bat.
Oh,
but
okay.
But
what do you mean let go of the bat?
So here, do you want me to demonstrate?
Yeah, you want the bat?
Yeah. Here,
okay. Well, don't let go of this bat.
Don't let go of the bat.
This bat also, Kevin, would swing you. This actually a tree trunk.
Zach, I think. Oh my God, you need to give me a. Can you send me that Kevin
Hold
picture?
on.
Like text it to me.
Yeah.
I just found a T-ball template.
Oh my goodness! Hold on, let Kevin explain real quickly.
Yeah,
you want to come over here?
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work on.
Come here, Kev.
So what I would do, I'm a lefty actually. So I don't want to hit you. I would do this, and then
You want to switch sides?
I would swing, and then here.
You would throw. Okay, time out. So what Kevin's explaining here. Kevin would. So if I'm getting this correct, and it's hard to see, and maybe thank goodness, you're saying you would throw the bat behind the catcher. So you'd go all the way back, and then you're chucking the thing behind. What the hell are we doing, Kevin?
Rip, it honestly looks like he's going to take your head off with that bat from this angle. That's terrifying.
Dude, that bat might be bigger than, oh my God. Kevin, get closer and do the stance. Come here. Just so people can see. That bat is bigger than your torso. Go get him, slugger. You look good, kid. Now give me that before you hurt yourself.
Send me the picture of
goodness
of all of us too. That group picture.
He's a good
I'm
kid.
gonna make that and send it to you. And you
I don't have that picture.
Here's the story.
Go
I
ahead.
did that, so I would let go of the bat it wasn't on purpose, obviously. It was just a thing. I was in the routine, I guess. And so I was playing, and I literally swung. I got a hit, and I let go of the bat, hit the catcher like right in the chest. Like, luckily, he had the chest guard and everything, but literally, I like everybody stopped. Like, nobody moved because he was like. He bowled over in pain, and then my coach was just like, run, go to first.
Was the catcher down?
Well, yeah, he was down. And so I got an infield hit, and they were about to eject me from the game, actually,
And
for doing this. And I think my coach like sweet talked him into keeping me in. And
how old were you?
He was like, look
I
at
was in
him.
high school.
Look at him. The coach was just pointing at first, like, look at him. Look at him. You're going to eject that.
Seriously. So I went, and obviously, I went over, apologized and everything, but I was a little bit of I had a little bit of a mean streak, I guess. I was
I wasn't kidding when I called.
Yeah, it was.
I wasn't kidding when I called you a gremlin.
That wasn't on purpose.
Dude,
though.
I'm
That's
about to
the
go to
difference.
work on this Photoshop right now.
You go ahead, and while you're going to work on it, why don't we bring on our next guest here, who is going to talk a little bit about one, kind of the situations that we were talking about, but two, he covers all baseball, but he does have a very good pulse on the Toronto Blue Jays because, hey, he likes the Blue Jays himself. So let's bring on Ballcap Sports' own Jim Riley. Jim, who did you press it, Zach? No? There we go, Jim. How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you doing right now? We actually just had Tim Mayza in the studio here hanging out. So
awesome.
Yeah, so we are all in agreement that Ryan Mountcastle is the best player against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yes.
And it is a fact.
It's funny. So Ryan Mountcastle has a thing where he makes my son cry. Ryan Mountcastle, we have been to so many Blue Jay games, and my son is 9, and he would hate this story getting out there, but we have been to so many Blue Jay games at Camden Yards, and every single time Ryan Mountcastle is hitting dingers against the Blue Jays, and he's just messing up my son, and I'm sick of it. Ryan Mountcastle, there's a ton of other teams that you can start hitting home runs against, and if you could take it easy on the Blue Jays, it would really do my son some wonders. It would build his confidence back up in the Blue Jays. But we were there for a 3-homer game. We were there for the 3-homer Mountie game. I think it was 2 years ago. He destroys Blue Jays pitching, eats it for lunch.
He really does. And he's one of the many talented Orioles players here. And Jim, I want to ask you this because I know you're well versed in baseball in general, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Blue Jays. But the topic here, there was a photo that was leaked around that Kyle Stowers is being called up for the Orioles, but we don't know the move yet. So we're sitting there going, if you're a guy, in your opinion, Jim, it feels like it's unless there's an injury, or is it something for a guy like Heston Kjerstad? Because I don't know what to exactly make of all this, but everyone in the comments has been speculating too much, and to be honest, speculating is too much for my brain.
Yeah, well, it feels like it would be Kjerstad because he's not playing regularly.
Yeah.
And I cannot think that was the plan. Let's call him up and then sit him on the bench. No way. So it would be the unfortunate thing is it would be a waste of an option for Heston to have called him up. And I think he's gotten a handful of at-bats in about a week and a half's worth of time. Yeah. So that would be disappointing that they wasted that option. But I got to think there's a plan here where Stowers maybe fits as that extra outfielder, bat off the bench guy. And when Kjerstad is here, they want him playing. And there's just no opportunity for him to play right now.
There isn't, especially when the Orioles have the best lineup in the American League. They're the top team in the American League on top of it. It's a hard lineup to crack here. Let's talk a little bit about the Blue Jays then in this situation. We talked about earlier, I can't seem to figure it out in this sense from the baseball side. I always feel like when you look at their roster, pitching, hitting-wise, you feel like they should be better. But they're towards the bottom tier in both offensive production and in team ERA. In your perspective right now, what's kind of been going on? And a guy that specifically, their stars outside Vlad Guerrero's gotten going a little bit, but Bo Bichette and George Springer have really, really struggled. And the pitching, which was supposed to be the strength for the team, also has been letting them down as recently so far this season.
Yeah, one of the major problems with this Toronto team is that bullpen. Worst bullpen in baseball by ERA. So that is a major problem. The rotation, you had to deal with a slow start with Gausman, and he's had some good starts. He's had some bad starts. There was a velocity thing early on. So we don't know if Gausman is firing on all cylinders right now. Barrios had a great start to the season. He was bad last time out. Kikuchi. Yusei Kikuchi, Blue Jay fans 2 years ago, if you had told them at some point Yusei Kikuchi would be the most reliable starter in the rotation, they would have thought you were nuts. And Kikuchi has been that guy. And you will see Yusei Kikuchi in the third game of this series on Wednesday afternoon. So he has been the most reliable guy. Manoah finally had a good start where he actually sustained his rotation, his delivery. The performance was much better for it his last time out yesterday. So the rotation is still, I think, an area where most Blue Jay fans feel confident because Gausman and Barrios is not going to get bombed every time out. You throw them out there 10 times, 7, 8, 9 times, you're going to get good stuff out of them. So the rotation still feels good. The bullpen is a major issue. And you talked about the bats. It is definitely a George Springer issue, and it is Bo Bichette's start to the season has been disastrous. The fact that we keep running George Springer out there as the leadoff man makes no sense to me. This man has an on-base percentage in the 200s. The on-base is in the 200s. So what do we because he makes a lot of money, he has to stay in the leadoff spot?
Yeah.
Hey, he's not entitled to be the leadoff guy. I don't care how much money he's making. Now, you got to play him if he's making as much as he is, but he doesn't have to lead off, especially when you have a guy like Davis Schneider, who has an on-base percentage near 400. So you've got these lineup issues, and it's not just those two. Alejandro Kirk has sort of been untrustworthy with the bat as well. You've got on top of it, and this is, I think, what is driving all Blue Jay fans wacky. The fact that Davis Schneider, who we as Blue Jay fans, we all know Davis Schneider is one of the best hitters on this team, keeps moving in and out and up and down in the lineup, and we just want some consistency. We want him in the top of the lineup. If you want to bat him lead off, that's great. We'd love that. He did that on the Saturday game when the Blue Jays came back from that 7-1 deficit. Davis Schneider was the leadoff man. And then George Springer was back in there on Sunday at leadoff. You've got a guy that is one of the best hitters on the team, and the Toronto Blue Jays don't know how to deploy him properly. And that just starts to make you wonder about the ability to put the right team forward by the guys who are making the decisions. So that is John Schneider. That is Don Mattingly. That is something that will be answered as the season goes on because somebody's job may be on the line at some point because this team cannot perform to this level. It's too poor. It's really disappointing that it's gotten off to this start.
Yeah, I honestly really has. And I think in general, when last year my pick to actually win the division was the Toronto Blue Jays in 2023. This year it's the Baltimore Orioles. That is, I thought the Orioles would make the playoffs last year. That was my bold prediction.
Yeah,
I did not have the Jays in this situation. I just, it's hard for me to figure out what's going on. I think, Rocco, you have a specific question about one of the other Blue Jays players right now.
Yeah, I feel like a guy that, when you think Blue Jays from an outsider's perspective, you're thinking Bichette, you're thinking Vladdy, you're thinking those two names. But I feel like a guy that I don't know if he flies under the radar with you guys because he's a very talented player and career-wise, he's been great. But guy I really like is Kevin Kiermaier, like his game defensively, offensively, just what he brings to the table. I know he's dealt with some illness. I know he's dealt with a hip injury this season. But what is the vibe out there in Toronto when Kevin Kiermaier is out there really playing at the top of his game? Because I feel like there's not a ball in the outfield that guy can't catch. Every time it gets hit, you're like this guy's tracking it down and catching this baseball right now.
Kevin Kiermaier quickly became a Blue Jays fan favorite after sort of being the villain. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago, Kevin Kiermaier had that incident with Alejandro Kirk where Kirk's card fell out of his pocket and Kiermaier picked it up. Blue Jay fans hated Kevin Kiermaier, and he so quickly endeared himself to that team and that franchise and that fan base, and they loved him. And all it took was, like you said, you get a couple balls hit center field that most humans don't get to, but he can. Made some amazing plays. He also hit last year. He's a leader on this team. He's one of the guys that I thought when he came on board, him and Brandon Belt last year, when they came on board, I was looking at, look at these guys. These are adults in the room. These are veterans. These are playoff tested guys. And that's what this team needs. And they got him last year. And it didn't matter because they couldn't win a playoff game. Still, Kevin Kiermaier's back this year. They had, those that aren't aware, Kevin Kiermaier was on a 1-year deal last year. They brought him back. And he's, manning center field now. And again, defensively, still up there. I would argue he really has not lost a step. And that veteran playoff tested experience, which I thought would have some weight in this clubhouse, still doesn't have it. And I don't know if it's because this is Vladdy's team and maybe Vladdy's team means Kevin Kiermaier, your role can only rise so high. I don't know. Not in the clubhouse. Have no idea. But like you said, Ryan, it's confusing. How does this team with this much talent, with a lot of playoff talent, this guy, because now you got Justin Turner on the team, Brandon Belt out, Justin Turner in, and it's scuffling. I really think, I look at it this way. One of the most important roles a baseball manager has is to set the tone in the clubhouse, set the culture, set the expectations, and hold the team to that, and drive the team from that aspect to greatness. And they're just not able to do that. They were unable to do it with Charlie Montoyo, and this new group led by John Schneider and Don Mattingly is not getting it done either. There's a ton of talent. They're just not executing. They're not getting it done.
Yeah, they're stuck in the mud a little bit. Now I can see why, especially Toronto was thinking about getting Ohtani. Why apparently they were so in on the sweepstakes, besides that he's very good. Yeah. And one of the best players, not even in the league, just in this generation that the game has ever seen. So, and then we should have asked him about that. That's something we should have asked about. What do you think about Ohtani going there and then not actually going there? And it was some other guy's random plane from Shark Tank or something like that. Was the something like that, right? That was the journey of it. Well, I think as far as the matchups are concerned, I think Kevin, you have a question regarding specifically with the pitching matchups.
Yeah, Jim, you're looking at these pitching matchups for this series. Rios and Burns, Bassett, Bradish, and Kikuchi and Irvin. I mean, those are 3 big-time pitching matchups in this for an early big divisional series for both these teams. I mean, how excited are you to watch these guys pitch, and specifically watching Toronto's lineup? I mean, could they get going against these guys? It's going to be tough because of how good they're pitching, though.
Yeah, I really like. I wish I could be at tonight's game because throughout the duration, Barrios has been fantastic. Again, if we could scratch off all that last start's performance did to his numbers, Barrios was looking great. And going up against Corbin Burns, who is my pick, Tariq Skubal or not, I'm still riding with Corbin Burns to be the AL Cy Young. So those two going head to head is a fantastic matchup. One thing I have learned in myself over the couple of years of doing this is I really like pitching. I love pitching. When I do my top 100 players, I always have way too many pitchers in my top 100 when I compare it to like ESPN and MLB. So I absolutely love pitching more than I guess I should, because I value it too high. So Barrios and Burns is wonderful because Blue Jays maybe best pitcher in Barrios. Again, Kikuchi with his numbers can make an argument for it. Corbin Burns is a Cy Young. You guys have to love that Kyle Bradish is not just back, but he's back and he's pitching really well.
Oh, yeah.
Two outings, only 1 run each time out. The Dodgers get Walker Buehler back. Walker Buehler can't go 4 or can't get through 4 beyond 4. And he's given up 3 runs each time out. So now Walker Buehler was a longer absence and is coming back from surgery. And Kyle Bradish, sort of sidestepped surgery and is going this route. But you got to love that you have him back. Bassett's been a little up and down this year. So how he goes is going to be interesting. And then that Kikuchi Irvin one, that's one that most people might sleep on, but that could be a very interesting matchup as well. Kikuchi, I have these bad memories of Kikuchi getting bombed at Camden Yards. Yes. So I wonder if he has those memories as well, and if he can overcome them and pitch well against this lineup that can just feast. I'm interested. It's a great pitching matchup. I'm hoping to go to the Wednesday afternoon game. I might not be able to stay the whole time, but because it's such an early start, I might be able to get to that 12:30 game and then get back home in time before the kids get off the bus. I got my fingers crossed on that one.
Well, hey, I think we have another thing. Zach, you want to lead into that?
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit earlier with Bo Bichette's one of my, obviously outside of Baltimore, he's one of my favorite players to watch. Mm-hmm. What's happening this year? From your vantage point, is he pressing too much? Is he swinging at balls out of the zone? What's changed this year from previous years where Bo Bichette, it seemed like every other day this man was getting 2-3 hits?
Right. So Bo Bichette's, there's a lot of problems. I feel like there's a lot of problems. I'm trying to think about where do we want to start with Bo Bichette's situation. I think you have a inability to find the barrel. Mm-hmm. This man typically was about a 9% barrel rate, and it's down to like 1.5%, which is like how. Yeah. So the barrel rate is a problem. He's not finding the sweet spot. And for anybody listening, he's like, sweet spot, give me the rundown on sweet spot again. That's that part. That's that bat off the ball between 8 and 32 degrees. That's your line drives and home runs, not your ground balls and pop-ups. He's having trouble doing that. And I think it gets back to he's getting eaten alive by off-speed and breaking pitches. They're eating him up. And when the book is out and pitchers know you can't hit it right now, you're going to see more of it. And he is seeing more of it. And he's, at some point, you got to trust the track record, and he's going to figure it out. Vladdy's figuring it out. Vladdy had a great week last week. Yeah. And at some point, Bo, we're hoping, is going to have a great week because he is a key component. Him and Springer both being irrelevant right now are doing a number on the Blue Jays. And because they are so important, because they, on top of that, the back half of the lineup is the Ernie Clements and the Alejandro Kirks and the IKFs, the guys that you're going to hope for some good at bats, but you're not going to rely on for a lot of production. You're relying on Bo and George for production. And when you take them out of the equation, it just makes the lineup a lot easier to pitch to. The production guys aren't getting it done. So if Ernie does get a base hit or Alejandro Kirk does get a base hit, Bo's not on base because Bo didn't get a hit. Bo popped out. That's Bo in the middle of the lineup and George at the top of the lineup, not executing, not producing, are killing them.
So in this case, the other thing I'll just to tag off that, and then one more thing will get you out of here. Yeah. But with Bichette, is it because of a lot? I haven't seen recently. He's still doing the leg kick. Is that his thing?
Yeah.
Or
He does the leg kick until it gets to 2 strikes.
2 strikes. Yes, exactly. So because I did a breakdown on him earlier, and when he is on time with his leg kick, it is devastatingly good for what he can do. But the problem right now is he's not seeing it as well. And when he gets the 2 strikes, that's a whole different system. With 2 strikes, it's hard to hit as it is, but that's never been maybe one of his strengths. But clearly he's off. And for the Blue Jays to get right and to win, and especially with their offensive struggles, they need him especially. So to wrap it up here then, what do the Blue Jays need to do? Who else besides their stars do you think the Blue Jays, that someone needs to step up for them to win the series? How does Toronto take the series against Baltimore?
The bullpen. I think the bullpen has to step up because I'm not expecting Bo to turn it on against Corbin Burns or Kyle Bradish. Just not. I have reasonable expectations. So they're going to have to keep it close with their starters. You're going to have an old-fashioned pitching duel between the starters, and then the bullpen is going to have to hold. I think this series is going to be on the bullpen. Vladdy, I'm glad that Vladdy's starting to see it because, again, I'm not going to expect one of my guys that are struggling to start to click when they're facing 2 excellent starting pitchers. So give me the bullpen to try to be the consistent force that can either hold a slim lead or keep the game close late. because if you come in there and you start giving up bombs, the Blue Jays, last I checked, the bullpen, home runs allowed, they were either tied for first or second. I mean, they're giving up too many home runs, this Blue Jay bullpen, and there's a lot of home run hitters in this Orioles lineup. So it's not a good matchup for the Toronto Blue Jays at such a pivotal moment for them, because they're 4 games below 500, I believe, 3 or 4 games below 500 heading into this thing. And you can't get swept by the Baltimore Orioles and be looking at 7 games below 500. You've got to be competitive here. I'm hoping that we can get that together. I do like your point about Bo Bichette, though. I think it was Mateo a couple of years ago had a leg kick, and then he killed it, and he just had a little bit of a step forward, and he got off to an amazing start last April. Now he could not sustain it, but he made a change. You wonder if Bo at some point reduces that leg kick. He can't do it in season. That's an off-season thing that you got to work on. But if you see Bo Bichette struggle through this year and then next year catches fire because he reduces that kick, I wouldn't be surprised, because we saw this 2 years ago too. Bo had trouble with the fastball. It was either 22 or 23. He had a terrible start to the season. He couldn't catch up to the fastball. And again, it's his whole, I refer to it as the hitter's windup. It is so dependent on timing, because there's so much going on that if you get off just a little bit, toast.
Timing's everything. Timing's everything with baseball. And so for everyone, Jim, we appreciate you joining us. So for everyone can find you over at Ballcap Sports on YouTube, right? Is there anything else that they need to know about what's going on with you?
Well, your audience might love to know that Wrapped Up Power Rankings every Monday morning at 11. I fire up Power Rankings, and the Baltimore Orioles came in at number 1.
Zach's all happy right there.
Baltimore Orioles at number 1, Dodgers at number 2. Now, that was the viewer vote. The way I do my power rankings isn't just me firing off my top 30. I let my live viewers vote on a lot of the key decisions so that it's more of a channel top 30. But the Baltimore Orioles won the popular vote for the number 1 spot. So, yeah, covering all Major League Baseball. I think objectively as I can. Sometimes there are teams that need to be praised. Sometimes teams need to be criticized. Sometimes those teams switch spots. And the team that I was praising last week will get some criticism this week. It is bias-free. Yes, I'm a Jays fan, but I also think I can do a good job of swinging the hat around and just going all baseball. So I appreciate you having me on. We've been trying to make this work, and I'm glad we finally did. It's a lot of fun.
We're going to get you more on a routine basis here to talk ball. And for everyone, I mean, there's a lot of baseball fans. I know a lot of Oriole fans, but if you are a baseball fan, go check out Ballcap Sports and Jim, because if you think we're putting out content, he is putting out a ton, and it's great. And you can hear Jim talk about it. I see a lot of people commenting, you love how well presented. That's what Jim does all the time, baby. That's why we have him on the show. Jim, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Best of luck to your Jays, sort of, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Likewise. Thanks, Ryan. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Jim Riley, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you, Jim.
Really very insightful. He's really good with all of his workings, and he understands the team, understands baseball here. So that's Jim Riley, Ballcap Sports. If you haven't followed him on YouTube, go check out the channel. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button to the Ryan Ripken Show. We do it Monday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever we impromptu things, right? Guys, I saw another new move. The Orioles claimed a pitcher.
Yes, they did. They claimed Corbin Martin off waivers from the Brewers and optioned him to AAA.
A Corbin from Milwaukee
currently sits at 40.
Have we heard that before?
Yeah, a Corbin from Milwaukee.
Have we heard that before?
No, never.
No?
What are you talking about, Kevin?
All right, so
there's a Corbin from Milwaukee currently on the Orioles roster. Really?
Could be.
I didn't know that.
Stop traffic here. And the thing that we still don't know is that we don't know the move.
And the connection, probably one of the reasons why Corbin Martin was claimed off waivers is he was a former second rounder by the Astros when Mike Elias was there. So
there's the connection, and that fills out the 40-man at the moment, right? But there's still no news on what's happening with Kyle Stowers or who he is going to be joining. We've seen out tweets that he is being called up. He will be activated, but we don't know what the situation entails yet for the Baltimore Orioles. And as we get close to wrapping up here, guys, and again, we are changing up our scheduling, and we are going to have James McCann on here in the future to talk more, about the game of baseball with him. It changed. We did have Tim Mayza, Blue Jays pitcher, on earlier. We just spoke with Jim Riley. So there's a lot of things that are still up in the air, and there's a lot of speculation. We don't want to play that game. We don't want to play the what if game right now. You can, but it's pretty evident if an outfielder's coming up here, it's probably in the corresponding move has to do with the outfield position group. So that's something I think that we should know, right? Consensus, thoughts?
Yeah, they're definitely going to announce it the second we get off stream.
Of course. We're going to hop off here in a second. One thing I'd like to actually say here before we go, and Rocco, you mentioned it yesterday. Who pitched well this last series out of the bullpen? A lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What about a guy that had to get back on track? And apparently I was very unreasonable with my thought about him on maybe Thursday night or Wednesday night.
Certainly did. Mr. Craig Kimbrell himself.
And Craig pitched what, Rocco? He got a lower leverage situation in the seventh?
A 1-2-3 inning in the 7th, retired the Diamondbacks in order, and then in the 11th, that wasn't a low leverage situation, was it, Rip?
I don't think so.
The 11th, when you start extra innings with a runner on second, I'd say it wasn't a low leverage situation. Wouldn't you agree, Zach and Kevin?
Yeah, gets the dub. Yeah. Got the dub.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
And you know what he did? It's like, obviously, growing up in Pennsylvania, cheering for the Phillies, and you see a lot of my friends are diehard Phillies fans, and they were laughing when the O's signed Craig Kimbrell. They were like, "This is what you're getting." And you saw a lot of Phillies fans and even O's fans. Listen, I get your frustration when your closer doesn't shut the door, because that's what you brought him in to do. And it's the frustration building because it happened time and time again. But I will say this, let's not forget, and I don't want to say, oh yeah, remember this. I don't want it to be one of those like basically forums where we talk about what he did. But I am going to talk about what Craig Kimbrell did. Through his first 11 appearances, he was fantastic. He had 7 saves. He was shutting the door. I think he gave up 1 earned or 0 earned throughout that span. And then the last 5 outings or so, he hadn't been good until he got in the 7th, took care of business 1, 2, 3, and then he gets in the 11th, gets out of that inning unscathed. That is a Craig Kimbrell you want to see. You want to see Craig Kimbrell. Listen, he's not in his 20s anymore. We get that. He's older. I don't want to even call it the tail end of his career, but when a guy gets to 35, 36, like up there in age, I guess that's what it's considered. Correct, Rip? I'm not trying to knock the guy, but,
no, it's true.
You're getting up there in age right now. But the hope for Orioles fans in this fan base, what did you say? It's what?
It's May now, 13th.
It's May. I truly think and believe and do hope, because I could be completely wrong, but I do believe this team is going to be able to rely on Craig Kimbrell this season. I think you're going to hit some rough patches. You're going to see some bumps in the road with any pitcher. When it happens to your closer, and when it's a guy who's under the microscope like Craig Kimbrell, when Birdland really didn't like the signing to begin with, I can't speak for everybody, but it was a signing that people were very much on the fence about, because they were like, this is who we got to replace the reliever of the year in Felix Bautista. But Craig Kimbrell has not been terrible this season. He had a bad, rough patch, and hopefully he's past that and can go forward, and the O's can rely on him going forward. I get the frustration. I get you're ticked off. You have every right to be. But I'm telling you, give this guy a chance, and hopefully he makes the most out of it going forward as the season progresses and continues to go on.
And also, too, he's going to have – every pitcher is going to go through their situations. And I'm not saying that – like, again, objective. We weren't saying that it was a good stretch, and he will even tell you that. It's a frustrating, but the Orioles are going to need Craig Kimbrell down the stretch. They are going to need him. They're going to need all of their pitchers. And the thing that I really tell people, don't give up on these Orioles pitchers right now. This team right now, ERA-wise, is one of the best in all of baseball. This is a very, very talented group when you look at it from a team perspective here. And pitching-wise, the Orioles are 5th with the team ERA, 5th in all of baseball. And another guy, like I said, don't give up on it. I know people have been up and down on my guy, Big Mike Bauman. Big Mike went 2 1/3 scoreless. And I know people are saying, well, you want to get rid of guys. Don't be quick to write off pitchers that can have a lot of success for the team. And what you're seeing is guys can pick things up. And if they can do the things right, they can be a big impact for this squad. You got something, Rock?
No. I was just giving you a thumbs up to that.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I completely
thumbs up.
agree with it. It's like you might look at us, some of you that are watching for the first time and might think, oh, these are a bunch of homers right here. They're talking about Craig Kimbrell like he's this savior and he's going to save the team. It's like that's not what we're getting at all. I get the fan perspective because I am a fan as well. Grew up watching this sport, loved it. I got ticked off when a closer blew a game. Even one game, you get pissed off. It is what it is. But I'm telling you, don't lose faith in Craig Kimbrell just yet. This is a guy that the O's hope that can take them maybe not necessarily to the promised land, but you hope that you can rely on him in late game situations going forward. And if he's not the answer, if it's not the case, Brandon Hyde will not hesitate to make the move to name another full-time closer. But right now, he's not losing faith in this Hall of Famer. He's not. This guy's a future Hall of Famer. And the way he goes about it is Hall of Fame-like, the way he, I guess, carries himself. So you hope that Craig Kimbrell continues to turn it around and trend upwards in the right direction going forward, and that he can be the guy that the O's brought him in to be, and that's to patch up the back end of the bullpen and not be Felix Bautista, but to be that placeholder for this season. And then you have that option going forward. And who knows, maybe they keep him again for 2025 as well.
We'll see what happens here. It's a good problem to have. But again, Birdland, team's doing well. They are going to continue to battle and grind. And D. Porter, we got to give you a proper golf clap now.
Give him more than a golf clap.
He asked for a golf clap, Rocco.
Yeah. What do you want to give him?
This is a golf clap.
Yeah.
I just want to clap.
Yeah.
Did
give
he
him-
ask for that?
Yeah, Jesus.
You know what,
sorry,
Kevin?
Porter.
Sorry, I've been working.
You're really
lately.
ticking me off
Sorry,
today.
I've been working.
Why don't you go to bed?
Yeah, I've been working since the second I woke up.
Yeah, I know. And what
Hey,
time did you
kids,
wake up, Kevin?
kids, Rocco, heel.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
This catcher photo
Sorry.
goes so hard.
So
Goes
hard.
so hard.
We can't wait to share the T-ball photo of Kevin too. So if you are looking for a good T-ball photo, we will share that in the future. But guys, I think we should wrap it up for today. And the last thing, again, there's no news right now for what's happening with Kyle Stowers as we wrap up. Andy, I see this. What does that mean for Hayes? Hayes is coming back regardless. I don't think it has anything to do with anything involving Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes will be back with the club. That's a whole different discussion right now. I don't know. We don't know what the corresponding move yet is for Hayes. So we're going to find out. It will probably be announced right as the stream ends. But you guys can get ready for a little Blue Jays Orioles matchup here. Look at these things, by the way. Got this when I was like 6.
Do you have
all these?
Do you have a mascot for every single
Nope,
team?
he
just, like,
doesn't.
chilling in what?
Nope, he doesn't have the Diamondbacks. I already looked.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have the Diamondbacks.
It was the ones
What a
when
loser.
when I was okay. We really want to go here.
I'm sorry. Heel.
This is why also like the Hollywood Casino was one of the worst things for Rocco's because there's so much stimulation he didn't know what to do.
Dude,
Did not know what to do.
Talk about someone who has ADD and like walking into a casino with tables and machines and bright lights and Kevin doing God knows what. Kevin's
Kevin
about
stuff.
to pass out, man. That guy he's been through it today. I can tell. I looked over, he's yawning. He's about to you might sleep on that, Kevin.
You want to talk about people falling asleep
I'm sorry.
during the show?
Yeah,
I know.
Only one person has ever actually fallen asleep.
And you know
on
what?
the show.
Ryan did not do you dirty by putting the camera on you when you were doing it.
Yeah, I didn't, and I could have. And you're gonna roast Kevin now.
No. I mean Kevin,
Go hug the bear, and we'll call it a day here. Are we talking about
Also-
Rip? There you go. Oh
What?
nope,
Also,
Take the Red Bull off of the chair.
nope.
can't reach.
Nah,
Just-
work on that flexibility. Zach, go ahead.
just got a text from Jason. There are 18 tickets left for tomorrow in the pasture. So show up, buy tickets if you haven't already. I believe you can only buy them until tonight. So this is the last night you can buy them. I don't think you can buy them day of. 18 tickets left. Go sell it out. Just 18 of you. 18 of you. Or 9 of you buy 2 each. You know?
I'm gonna go over just with just check it out tomorrow for a little bit.
I'll be there.
The whole game, but
I think
I'll check it out and see
if
I'll be in it.
I think if you're going to be around Baltimore City, you should go to the Yard. You should go down there hang out, see what it's all about. And we have some other things upcoming. We'll let you know about our rescheduled appearance with James McCann. We will let our Holy Shirts and Pants members know first. And we also have 2 one-on-one interviews that we have lined up that I think people might like to hear as well. So that does it for us guys here. And again, enjoy the Kyle Stowers news that will be dropped right after we end our live.
Yeah.
Kevin, any other thoughts and concerns before we go? Okay.
Kev, you should get a Red Bull, honestly.
I've never
This
had
Red
I've
Bull-
never had an energy drink.
This
Oh.
blueberry flavored Red Bull is some of the best energy drink I've ever drank in my life. Shout out to Joe. He does a great job. Joe, you better sell that thing out today, man. But this is fantastic.
And I wish that was sponsored, but it's not.
I know. That's maybe I'm thinking right here. This Red Bull, hold on. What is it? The Blueberry Red Bull edition. It is very good.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we appreciate everyone. We appreciate all of you. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Do not spill on my bear,
it's
please.
very good.
Yes, I got it. I think all of us got it, and we're okay.
Jesus
Nobody
Christ.
laughed.
Okay, yeah, we know. We got it. We didn't laugh.
This is. You
There
guys
was a
suck,
reason
man.
we didn't laugh.
Why did you laugh at my joke? It was funny.
Hit the music.
I
Yeah,
need
okay.
You know what?
validation
You know
in
what?
life.
You know what?
Everybody knows
Here,
this.
I'm gonna tell a dad joke. Why can't your nose be 12 inches?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Because then it'd be a foot.
Oh, Kevin.
You laugh at that?
Because it's Kevin. Because why did he just
Kevin
think
could
of
say
that?
pudding and it would be funny.
Okay.
I say
Exactly.
something and it's stupid.
We're done. We're done here. We're done. As always, here at the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate you tuning in for this edition. Again, have a day, have a night. Enjoy the Blue Jays Orioles series, and we will talk next time on a brand new edition of the Ryan Ripken Show.